You are now entering Video Village,
where we mark the centenary of the 26 Turnip Accords.
Coming up,
We review Jackass, Best and Last,
Saccharine,
Supergirl,
Animal Farm.
and the Odyssey. Only 5 things this episode.
Oh!
Won't be shorter.
Oh.
I doubt it anyway. Let's start with Jackass, Best and Last.
Okay, it's Jackass. Part pranks, part stunts, all self-harm. The film purports to be the last, but is it indeed the best?
Well, before this, I had seen Jackass Forever.
Okay,
I think that was it.
okay. I haven't seen any. I think you showed me Jackass 2 before we watched this.
Yes.
Just as like, here's what to expect.
Here's what Jackass is.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd seen Jackass Forever and the odd clip during youth. I thought that forever was the final word. I mean, it's Jackass Forever.
Yeah.
You know? But apparently that's something that Knoxville has said about most of their projects.
Right, okay.
This time, however, I imagine it will stick.
Okay.
Right? This 5th film very much orbits finality and serves as a greatest hits reel of the franchise.
Well, it opens with, I'm assuming, his first ever on-camera...
Yes, which I'm not sure we've seen before in anything.
Okay.
Yeah, when he was, before Jackass was a thing.
Yeah.
I think the idea was that for a magazine, he was going to test self-defense equipment.
Okay.
So yeah, the first thing is him shooting himself in the chest.
Yes.
Wearing a Kevlar or whatever.
Yeah.
There's some new footage in this, but not much. And going into this as one only semi-fluent in Jackass, that wasn't an issue for me. But I could understand as a fan feeling shortchanged a little bit there.
Yeah.
It would be more acceptable as a series finale than a cinematic terminus, I think.
Yes.
You know?
Yeah.
Because you got to go pay and see this.
Yeah.
I like the opening. Directed by Academy Award-winning writer Spike Jonze.
Yes. I mean, all of the... You've told me that all of the Jackass films have these kind of, like, very, like, really well-done openings.
Obviously, you saw 2 with the running of the bulls.
The running of the bulls, yeah. And then that one ends with a big musical number. This ends with them riding a giant trolley down a cliff.
Which, the trolley, maybe 2 ends with them in a trolley. That's a callback to a thing they've done before.
Right, okay.
But this time it goes off a cliff and explodes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Not with them in it. Like, they make it look like,
Yes,
it's like Top Gear, where they kind of like, initially they're like, oh, James May died.
Yes.
And he hasn't. But yeah, it's structured exactly the same way. Although my understanding from like very cursory research is this is the 5th Jackass film.
Yeah.
But there have been other ones in between, like 2.5, 3.5,
Yes.
which added to basically just like behind the scenes stuff.
Kind of.
Okay.
But no, they added... They were unseen pranks
Okay.
and stuff as well.
Because
Yeah.
I was going to say, this feels like... I don't see the point in there being like a Jackass Best and Last 0.5. Because it feels like they put a lot of like interviews and talking heads and stuff in this one too.
I think this is going to be the second to not have that.
Okay.
I could be wrong, but yeah, like they won't be a 0.5.
Yeah.
But yeah, Spike Jonze, who's been involved with this since the beginning, he's one of the 3 creators of the show.
Yeah.
Which is mad, just 'cause the guy that did Her and Being John Malkovich, and,
Yeah.
you know.
Is also the naked old woman in number 2.
Also, I get like Dirty Grandma or whatever
Yeah.
they call it. The Jackass Enterprise could actually have ended up being part owned by Howard Stern.
Okay.
Because they sent in stuff to his radio show, like Johnny Knoxville did, before they had the series, but the station wasn't having any of it. Like, no, we're not doing that. It's such a Howard Stern adjacent concept.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like, and both, you know, similarly prevalent in early noughties pop culture as well. Anything that's run for such a long time does lend itself to an affection because it makes you think about where you were. When Johnny Knoxville gets a bit teary and says that a part of their life is almost over, the bittersweet register did resonate for me. I don't know about for you.
Okay. I mean, yeah, it did. I did get the sense, because obviously we can't speak from experience because we didn't grow up with...
No.
We've kind of like come to it now through the podcast.
But we did grow up with it. Because we
grew up with it like off in the background, but never engaged in it.
Well, I'll get to that, but yeah.
Okay. But yeah, no, it did feel like these were guys that were, saying goodbye to something.
Yeah.
It felt like they were like drawing a line under like a big thing in their lives.
Well, they're at the age where they have to get prostate exams and colonoscopies, which they use for material.
Yeah.
But it's like, Johnny Knoxville said, I can't do anything that gets me another concussion because I'll die.
Yeah.
Frankly, I do inescapably admire their dumbass chutzpah.
Okay.
I do. The fact that they're enjoying it so much and laughing with each other is infectious. You share in their joy, and I laughed a lot. Though, of course, its clippy nature means that some bits are funnier than others, right? They use a clip from Jackass 2 where Steve-O jumps on a rake, and someone mutters, "What an idiot." You might have to park those feelings at the door, because in the context of Jackass, that just means genius, doesn't it? What an idiot. It's like, yeah, that's kind of the thing.
Yeah.
You know, we're going to send a dude hurtling through the air in a porta potty. Well, that's just rank foolishness, isn't it? Rank being the operative word.
Yeah.
So after seeing this, I went back and watched everything from the beginning.
Okay.
It's Moorish. It's a Moorish premise, concept. I was surprised by how much of season 1 I remembered.
Okay.
Whether I started watching it at some point and stopped, or I've just been exposed to that many vignettes over the years. Have you ever gone back and watched an episode of a show that you saw a lot as a child? I mean, look who I'm talking to. But have you done that?
Yeah, that's almost certainly happened. I think I said to you like a couple of months ago, like I found randomly online, I found the opening title sequence to a show that I'd totally forgotten.
Right.
I was like, oh, I remember this.
Yeah.
And I remember, like, I didn't see any of the episodes, but like, oh yeah, I remember how, like, the momentum of the show and like where it goes and like what it's all about.
Right. Yeah, as your mind starts to run in a weird parallel with the show. Like, your memory fills in just as the thing unfolds. Which I know just sounds like the experience of present living, but there's something else too, like this satisfying comfort and home of inevitability. But maybe not home in this case, but I felt much the same watching early episodes of Jackass, suggesting there must have been some time that I ingested it.
Okay.
But I have zero recollection of why I have a recollection. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I must have watched it at some point. And obviously more than once, because it was like, yeah, oh yeah, that. And it was like filling in a blank.
Okay.
Bizarre. It's mad going back though. Like there's something incredibly halcyon about it. And you reflect that it was pre 9/11, a different California, you know, a different London even, which features a little bit in season 2.
Okay.
Nobody is filming any of their hijinks on their phone.
Yeah.
You know? So now as a nouveau lingual, it's a show I can legitimately say is critic proof.
Yeah.
Moreover, I don't care what critics think.
Okay.
It is very much like Stern. You're entertained or you're not. There's a purifying kind of shamelessness in it, you know?
Yeah.
Like wrestling too, I imagine, which is another 90s noughties object.
Absolutely.
Paul Walter Hauser is this film's celebrity cameo.
Yeah.
And yeah, of course he's a fan. Of course he is.
Well, it was surprising as well, because they show a clip from, I don't know whether it's an unseen one or whether it's from a previous film, where they kidnap Brad Pitt. Mm-hmm. And it is actually Brad Pitt. And you're like, oh yeah, this must have been like a big thing.
Yeah.
For Brad Pitt to just casually be like, yeah, kidnap me, whatever. I don't care.
And it felt like they kind of just bumped into him and he was a fan. He was like, oh, let's just do this.
Yeah.
And, you know, toward the end, the soundtrack features My Way, which is a famously overused and misapplied ballad. Here you go, sure.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
In one episode of the show, they play like a Rolling Stone. They play a lot of music in the show, but like a Rolling Stone. And I know Dylan he's delegated those approvals to a guy that he trusts. But it's still nice to imagine that process for Jackass, you know, trying to get approval for that. The ending was pleasantly redolent of the young ones, you know, going off the cliff and exploding.
Yeah.
You know, what can I say? It ain't winning any awards, and everyone involved knows it. It gets you or it doesn't. And I have to say it basically does get me. And on top of everything, there's a surprising sweetness too. I wouldn't start here, but give Jackass a go, why not? Okay.
Yeah, I mean, as you say, it's very repetitive in nature because you've got those like sequences at the beginning and the end, which are my favorite bits.
Yeah,
I really like them because they're
cinematic, aren't they?
They're cinematic, but they also integrate the like ridiculous stunts into the sequence.
Well, I think in this one in particular, it harkens back to famous stunts those individuals have been involved with. You know. So they were kind of redoing their famous bits.
Which is really good.
Yeah,
and that stuff feels really great. And I think especially with the second one, with the running of the bulls, it potentially set the wrong expectations for me.
Right.
Because I saw that and I was like, oh, cool. It's like, it's a proper...
Yes.
It's well made as well, which is like an element that I didn't expect.
Yeah.
And then it just becomes, for the next hour and a bit, it's just camcorder, like...
Yes.
I'm Johnny Knoxville and I'm going to, shove the moon up my arse or whatever. And then they just do that for an hour, and then they have a big musical number at the end, which again goes back to being really well choreographed.
Yes.
It's like, I kind of would have liked more of that in the middle.
I know what you mean.
There's no incentive to watch it as a complete entity because it's so isolated and episodic, you can't.
Yeah, it's not like
out.
this film as a unit. Yeah, it's like over the years, just you could put together a highlights reel of just their best stuff.
Yeah.
I'm fine with those bookends being the way they are because it's like if more of it is like that, it loses its punky.
And that's fine.
You know what I mean? It's like no, it's going to all be that. But then because it's a film now, let's give it a bit of cinematic flair for the beginning.
Yeah.
It's kind of that's the joke. It's funny that you're doing that for Jackass.
Okay.
You're giving it a musical number.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think I would want the rest of it to be just those guys sort of filming it.
Yeah.
Because that's what it was, right? They're just skateboarders that filmed themselves doing stupid shit.
Yeah, and it's probably the wrong instinct to say, like, oh, it'd be nice if they imposed something on it to kind of make it feel like more of a film.
Yeah.
Like, they keep going, in the second one, they keep going back to the naked grandmother sketch.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know whether, like, a potential instinct could be like, oh, what if you try and weave a narrative through those sketches?
Yeah, I think
it feels like that's probably, for
yeah,
Jackass, that's the wrong thing to do.
Yeah.
But like I said, it's the sequences at the beginning and the end set the wrong expectations for me.
Right.
And the lack of incentive to watch it all in one go. It's like, oh, okay, it's kind of not what I thought it was going to be.
Yeah, I suppose I'm reviewing Jackass more than I am Jackass Best and Last, specifically. Yeah. But so I would recommend Jackass.
Okay.
But knowing that it's, it's up and down. It's But yeah, there's something about them that I don't like all of them necessarily, but there's just something about, like, I don't know, maybe it's a very male thing. It's like, oh God, like the balls it takes to do that.
Yeah. Although, who's the woman?
Oh, I think she came into the cast in the fourth one.
Okay.
Yeah.
Does she do anything? She doesn't do anything in this.
No, she doesn't do it in this one. I think she does a couple of things in the fourth one. She does a thing where, like, she puts her tongue in an electricity kind of thing, which they do in the beginning of this, I think. Yeah. They allude to that. She's on, like, a conveyor belt.
Yeah.
And then, yeah.
Because that was just, because it's, like, the only woman there, you notice her.
Yeah. No, I think that, I don't know why they added her later, but there's an element that goes, oh, Jackass needs a woman now,
Does it?
No, it doesn't. But like in the modern age,
yeah,
that's what you kind of infer. And the fact there's a black guy in it as well, which there never was in the show.
I mean, that's whatever.
Yeah.
But I think the problem with bringing a woman into it is that the stuff that the guys do, because a lot of it can be quite like crass and disgusting, and like, I think it would be more uncomfortable if you expected a woman to do those sort of things.
Johnny Knoxville has said as much. He said, like, I'm not comfortable asking her to do certain things, which is, that's fine. I think what I would, by introducing a woman, what that would say to me is not so much that, oh, she's just as ripe for, like kegging or whatever as everybody else. It's that, oh, maybe this opens up doors to do things that the men can't do. Okay. But I'm not sure exactly what those things would be. But like, she can get into places that the men can't and do things. Do you know what I mean? It's like, oh, we got a woman, right? What can't we do that she can?
If that was the instinct, then like, okay, I'm happy to follow that. But
I suppose, I mean, on the most, I'd say on the crassest level, but that's what Jackass is. Yeah. Like, how much of whatever can she fit inside herself? Yeah. That's the kind of shit they do, right?
Yeah, probably. But in this one, it feels like she's just there to sort of chaperone them through some of the bits.
Yeah, no, she isn't really a thing in the last one.
Which is a bit of a letdown, because it feels like everybody else gets a decent go. Like, it feels like everyone's kind of...
Everyone, with the exception of, like, a couple of them, everyone else is a mainstay, Okay. But, Bam Margera... He's in the second one. He was one of the main guys in the show, and like, because they hadn't a thing independent from Johnny Knoxville, and they would send in videos, and then those together became Jackass. Okay. And then he was a mainstay in the films, but he was a massive alcoholic. Right. I think on the fourth one, the director sacked him. I was like, listen, no, it's done. Okay. So it's kind of a shame that he's not... I think there might be older clips featuring him, but he's not involved in the cast anymore. Okay. So that's kind of a shame, especially for the final run, if that's what this is. Yeah. But did it feel to you like, yeah, no, that probably is the end? Yeah. Yeah. I
haven't seen Forever, so I don't know if like that also had a similar sense to it. You'd be a better judge than I would.
Not as final as this one. Okay. Where you really get like... 4 was like, oh, we're older. Yeah. And, oh, like, remember us as young bros kind of thing. Yeah. This one feels like... I'll die if I do this anymore. Yeah. So I do have to stop now for my own health.
Absolutely, yeah. Yeah. So yeah, no, there is a sense of finality to it. And I think it does it well, because even without having a history with it, I felt the sense of finality. Yeah. So I imagine that it would, like, if you are familiar with Jackass, it probably would be quite rewarding.
Yes, yeah. Saccharine.
A medical student who has exhausted all avenues to try and lose and keep off weight is driven to a desperate last resort, consuming human ashes. And do you know what, Sam? It bloody works.
It bloody does.
That is until the ghost of the person she's eating decides to start eating her straight back.
Never.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is a new horror movie from...
It's a horror movie,
It's a horror movie.
Yeah.
Do this as a comedy.
Yeah.
So it goes, she thought she was eating the dead, and they started eating right back. A new horror movie from Natalie Erica James, director of Relic and Department 7A, the latter of which I hated.
Okay.
Relic was dementia, this is eating disorders.
Yes.
Inseparably a critique of Ozempic, Mounjaro, and dieting fads more than anything. The substance comparisons suggest themselves, but they're distinct entities nestled within the camp of body horror, I think.
Yeah.
This is squelchy, officiating a textual marriage of food and the human body. The title...
Yeah, the end credits are very Dexter-coded, aren't they?
Right, yeah. The title Saccharine doesn't quite capture the film for me.
No.
It should be something like Gurgle, of which there's a lot.
Yes.
Their stomach gurgles a lot. It's gross. I understand that a shortcut to depicting an unhealthy relationship with food is fatties. The lead here is more frumpy than fat to begin with.
Yeah, she's not like...
She's movie fat.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
And I get that a shortcut is them shoveling it in, like sugar and donut jam coating their lips. You may become a bloater by devouring porcine quantities. It doesn't mean you adopt piggy table manners too. But that's a theme, trust us.
Yes.
But that's a theme to which we'll later return in another review.
What's interesting as well, because I Googled, after I watched this, did the actress lose weight while filming?
No.
She didn't?
No.
Because towards the end of the film, I thought, I think she does look thinner.
No, she does, yeah.
She does look thinner.
They obviously put a bit of, double chin muscle on there.
They probably did something at the beginning. Or maybe just the order they filmed things in, they kind of, did the later stuff first, so that... Because it turns out, what I didn't realise is, that is unsimulated eating. She is actually eating that food.
Okay.
Because they said that, for this type of film... Hollywood eating just isn't going to work.
There's no way around it. Yeah.
So she's like, I will... She's eating all the things that you see her eating on camera.
Okay.
Which is, fair play.
Yeah, no, fair play.
Because, as you alluded to, she really goes for it.
Yeah, it's gross.
It's gross. But at the same time, part of me was... Because I think they said because of the sort of expedited schedule, or the tight filming schedule they were on, it would have been impossible for her to lose the weight naturally.
No. You can't ask someone to do that.
That is a hell of a lot to ask someone. I completely understand that. But there is a small part of me that is once you release it, this is a thing that's going to exist in the world forever. So I think actually having the actress visibly lose weight, even if you were to achieve that mostly through makeup and prosthetics and whatnot, it would really lend the film another layer to it. It would feel like, I can see this woman disappearing as this ghost is.
And you're saying you didn't see her losing weight?
No, because by the end I had to check. I was like, is she losing weight? Because it was a sort of kind of, maybe.
Yeah, it's not like she's obese and then becomes thin. She's kind of a bit fat. She has some frump to her.
Yeah.
But I did notice it. I mean, it's her face. Her face gets thinner. But it's not dramatic. And I suppose I got to a point where I was like, I know that actress.
Okay.
Now, do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
Because I have seen her in other things. Midori Francis is her name.
Yes.
It will almost certainly nuke your appetite.
Okay.
In fact, it's a good test. If watching this makes you hungry, you're probably a psychopath.
Okay.
Did it make you hungry?
I ate some crisps while watching it.
Okay, crisps, fine.
Yeah.
If you don't want to hurl at the sight of her chowing down on the pooled nosh dregs in her sink strainer, you have empathy problems.
Okay.
Midori Francis is good, though I could have used a little more context as to why she has an American accent.
Isn't her father... Oh, no, that's Australian,
It's set in Australia.
Yeah.
In real life, Francis is Japanese, Australian, American.
Okay.
As is the director.
Okay.
Exactly. Now, that's a really specific facsimile to cast for yourself, isn't it? The corpulent spirit of Bertha, the thing that's trying to eat her back. Big Bertha. Reminded me of the first version of the Shadow King in Legion. Do you remember that?
It also looks like one of the creatures that was in the first Resident Evil trailer, the one that kind of slides out of the shadow.
Yeah. And she does embody a frightful, fatty Spectre. Hannah's father, however, I thought the prosthetics were a bit dodgy, almost a parodic version of the whale.
Yeah, I thought that as well. I was like, that is a person in a fat suit. That is not a fat person.
It looked like what the whale would be in a scary movie.
Yes.
Yeah. It's all gloomy and visually oppressive, and I'm not saying I want all horror films to be brightly lit, But with the odd exception, I do notice that the ones I like the most don't adhere to this lung cancer aesthetic.
Yeah, because I think there could be something to the idea of... I don't know whether this is maybe something they tried and it just didn't come across. But keeping the sort of like colour profile that the film has, but all the food is really bright and appetizing.
Yeah.
Because it puts the audience in the same mindset then, where they're looking at this food going, God, that looks fucking good.
Sort of like that in Severance thing as well, where like it's so starkly white that any colour. Yeah, this kind of it's so gloomy.
Yeah,
that everything is well lit and colourful.
Yeah, everything's got that kind of swampy aesthetic to it. But then you see those M&Ms.
An M&S advert.
Yeah, and it's like, fuck, those M&Ms look really good.
Yeah.
Right now, and suddenly you're the character.
Yeah.
You know? Why?
And we can relate, can't we?
Oh, absolutely, yeah. But it's just like little, like, because I think some of the M&Ms and stuff, they do look like they've got some colour to them. So I don't know if the film maybe tried that and it didn't pull it off.
Whenever I see M&Ms, this heavenly light opens above it. Yeah.
Yeah, the world around it does seem darker.
Yeah.
Definitely. Why is it that Big Bertha can only be seen in convex reflection, Sam? Is it because
she is convex object?
I was going to say, is it because it bulges outwards like a fat person?
Yeah, that is funny.
Yeah.
Is it only literally? Is it only?
She specifies in the film it's only convex reflections.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I don't know. That's an interesting.
So the back of spoons, the kettle, the like mirrors you get in like
know,
apartment buildings and everything.
That's I don't know. I like that. I like that weird little the specificity of it. It gives it more reality. You know.
I suppose so, but it does. Yeah, because Bertha is inhabiting that space.
Yeah.
Because there are multiple points where she's like climbing over furniture and it's creaking.
Sliding a cake over.
So she is a physical entity.
A physical entity, but
just can't see it.
Invisible, yeah. It's not as cinematically accomplished as Relic. I don't think that felt like it had more of a look to it.
There was no... The two things I remember from Relic is when she's like scrambling through the maze or whatever it is.
Yeah.
And it's getting smaller and smaller and smaller.
Yeah.
And I think the final shot where you've got the three generations lying next to each other and you can see the progressive, like, the decay getting worse the older they get.
Yes.
There was no equivalent of that in this for me.
No, Relic felt like a slightly more cinematic film. Yeah. This feels more like a debut. You start with this one. Especially off the back of Apartment 7A. It's something of a backwards trajectory. Like, you do your indie debut, then you get Apartment 7A. That's what it's did with Relic, but that's good. Like, stick to personal projects. I'd rather she just kept doing things like this. It's a grim ending, and for once, I don't think it was appropriate for a horror film. The dread in this film didn't feel as entrenched, so that the uplift at the conclusion actually felt like the correct course for the film. Naturally, there's often that peak so that we can dovetail into the horror valley coda, right? But for whatever reason, it just didn't feel right here. I don't know. It's like, oh no, when things were going better, that felt like the film was doing the right thing.
Yeah.
And then when you have that horrible ending, it's like, oh, I don't like that, but not in the way that I shouldn't like that.
Yeah, it was a bit of a double whammy for me because I wasn't like happy with the fact that she survived doing surgery on herself.
Right.
Because she finds out that as she's consumed Bertha, a tumor is forming in the same place that was that killed Bertha, because Bertha had like liver cancer or something. And then the kind of like thesis is that when she's eating, that's actually feeding Bertha because Bertha's getting bigger,
right,
whereas she's getting smaller.
Yes.
So she cuts the tumor out of herself. Shouldn't have survived that, really.
No, of course, no.
But
also, Bertha's a fat woman name.
Yes,
it really is. But go on,
Well, it's not her name though. It's Grace, right? They call her Bertha.
They call her. That's fair.
Because they're medical students working on her body. Mm-hmm. So and the man is like, oh, I'll call it Bertha because I'm a man and I hate fat people.
We've seen some genuine autopsy footage from a documentary.
Yeah.
The way it's done in this, I don't know if that's if it was realistic. It's the grossest I think I've seen. When it's like yellow.
Yeah, it's not how you expect to see the inside.
Yeah, and like I said, they really marry it with food.
Yeah.
Like the kind of squelchiness of it. So I was like, oh god, that is fucking disgusting. We are fucking disgusting. But let's carry on.
Yeah, so it's the double whammy of, she survived and everything's okay.
Yeah.
I'm not sure I like that.
Right.
And then she eats
her girlfriend.
Her girlfriend. It's like, I'm not sure I like that either. Yeah, she does, yeah.
Yeah. Literally eats her girlfriend. Yeah.
I did think earlier on, when the first time they kind of hook up and she's eating her out, I was like, should I start eating this woman?
Yeah, I also thought
And then she doesn't.
No, she doesn't.
No.
But then she does.
It's
a solid, if not excellent, little movie,
okay.
I would say. It's fine.
Yeah.
I don't know who I'd recommend it to, necessarily.
No, I mean... it's a film you make for the disgusting body horror stuff.
And that's effective.
And it is effective. I do wonder if it's a bit too repetitive.
Maybe. But I just know that when she's, like I said, those pooled nosh dregs in her sink, when she kind of wakes up and like sleepwalking and she's just like eating all that.
Yeah.
Just like peas and whatever it is. That was like, because I got one of those.
Oh, okay.
And that was effectively, it's like, that is, it worked. And I know it might not be the hardest thing in the world to make that kind of stuff disgusting.
Yeah.
But I did. So it was doing its job in that respect.
No, it did do its job. I just think that they were like, it didn't go above a certain level for me.
No, I agree. Yeah, like I said, it's solid but not excellent. If this was a debut, it would be more commendable.
Yeah.
But I think, to turn the lights on and, a little bit more variety and it would have made it much better.
Yeah.
Supergirl.
The answer to the question, what would a James Gunn movie look like if it wasn't written or directed by James Gunn?
Indeed.
Millie Alcock plays the titular Supergirl, and she is titular. A drunk and a lout who has just 3 days to save her dog after he is poisoned by a villain who I only remember is called Creme because a random person in the comment thread asked if his surname was Brûlé.
Okay.
It's the next DCU film, right? This is...
Yes, the second.
Yeah. Not really a sequel to Superman, but kind of follows on.
Yes.
We saw her at the end. And
getting her dog back.
Yeah.
Craig Gillespie is the director. Lars and the Real Girl, I, Tonya, Cruella, kind of a mixed...
Oh, okay.
And new writer, Anna Nogueira. It's pretty much her first film.
Okay.
There are some good instincts and contrasts. So Superman found a home she never did.
Yeah.
She's a proper Kryptonian. Illustrated nicely with the initial language barrier that she has. It's a decent idea that considering these characters are interplanetary, intergalactic, they have different modes they can occupy based on the nature of the planet's sun. I like that aspect.
Yeah, I don't know what sun Krypton has. I didn't get the impression they were super powered on Krypton.
No, they're not, I don't think.
Yeah.
There's an interesting take on the destruction of Krypton, that it took time, that it was sickness that ultimately wiped everyone out, and that's left Kara with a deep grief. And I like that she doesn't have the same qualms about killing as her cousin. It's not like, oh no, all the supers are the same,
Yeah.
She does kill Creme at the end.
Well, yeah, I mean, what's the... I think they say it in the film, don't they? Like, Superman... Or it might even be in the trailer. Superman sees the good in everyone. She sees the truth.
Right. Superman's an idealist.
Yes.
Yeah, that finds it hard to exist in the real world. And I suppose that's easier for her in that sense.
Yes. Whereas the irony, of course, is that he's willing to like be in the real world and embrace it, whereas she can't. She has to like leave it behind and be drunk and all that sort of stuff. And that would be a nicer sentiment if the film was able to show that in a way other than the character just saying it.
Right.
Because I feel like the film does fall back on that stuff quite a lot.
Yes.
A lot of it's just kind of like, I'm telling you the film now.
Well, as you alluded, this isn't a James Gunn script.
No.
But it's his universe. The trailers for Clayface that we've seen suggest a darker tone, so we'll have to wait and see.
Yeah.
But it would be a shame if all of the DCU films shared that Gunn-like tone.
Yeah.
Which is something I often enjoy, But you want some variety, especially considering the MCU has become rather monolithic in that area.
Yeah, definitely.
I didn't mind so much with this because it's very adjacent to Superman, and it's only the second outing. But yeah, it's like, well, okay, as long as they're not all like this.
Yeah, because there were the elements that I think worked in Superman that were quite obnoxious here. Like the constant needle drops were just...
Yes, no, I agree. Yeah. I agree. There's a commitment to diversely designed species.
Yeah.
It can make things feel a little Babylon 5, but it's an improvement over bland uniformity.
Yeah.
Although this does emerge chromatically wanting. A lot of greys and browns.
Yeah, and there is a sense of like... I think with like big sci-fi properties, they're often able to find alien designs that feel very much their own. Mm-hmm. You look at certain creatures and you go, that's a Star Wars creature.
Right.
Like even The Mandalorian kind of did that with some of the creatures in the pit.
Yeah,
it's like that looks like a Star Wars creature.
Yeah.
Doctor Who, there are like certain creature designs where it's like that's very Doctor Who. The Jadoon, like especially the Russell T Davies era, that's a very Doctor Who creature. Yes. Star Trek even have got like, oh, that looks very Star Trek. Mm-hmm. I don't think there was really anything about the aliens in this where I was like, oh, that feels like its own thing.
No. But to be fair, we don't have a context. Superman, I mean, it might have done it in animated series in the comics, but it's cinematically, we haven't really seen that stuff yet.
We haven't, but it also just felt like, oh, these could all be Guardians of the Galaxy aliens.
Babylon 5
know.
kind of, yeah. One of the best things about Gunn's contributions to the genre is a return to vibrant colour, right?
Yes.
both the novelty factor of alien worlds and the drained palette preclude you from connecting. It's too foreign, I think. Mostly in the first act. Every minute introducing a new thing. So it's unfortunate when you realise early on that the experience will be a limited one, that you'll just have to roll with it without firmly landing or investing anything.
Yeah.
There's way too much background sun and lens flare. It's ubiquitous. And while it keeps front and centre the significance of suns, which I imagine was the intent, the cost is too great, I think. Some of the locations, clearly green screen, feel as such and lack both elegance and gravity. When you consider what should be its target audience, there's a bit too much in the way of profanity and adult-oriented humour.
Yeah, because this one's bombing, right? It's going to lose like 100 million or something at the box office. And I do wonder if part of that is, as a parent, you might just not feel comfortable taking your child to see this.
I don't think they know. I think it's just Supergirl is like, who's that?
It could be that, but also you see the trailer and it's like, oh, she's kind of like a drunk. And there's like a couple of times where it seems to allude the fact that she's not as like clean and...
No. Morally pure
as Superman. So you're like, I don't know if this is like, if I want to take my child to see this.
I don't know. I mean, Batman has always been, philosophically, morally murky. And that
but I think Batman, it's in the DNA of that. Whereas with Supergirl, a lot of people, this might be their first exposure to Supergirl.
Yeah. So I think that's what it is. I think it hasn't done very well because who is Supergirl? You know? It's clearly been decided that shit no longer ages a film up a bracket, using that word.
Okay.
In the context we understand growing up, you were maybe allowed a couple. Yeah. It's uttered a lot here. Like, those parameters have just clearly shifted. Yeah. It's funny how we've basically gone in one direction with that stuff. I've often heard Kermode talk about 12-rated films, and I'm talking like 15, 20 years ago. Yeah. Amazed what they could get away with compared to his youth. Are kids getting more mature, or are they just likelier to encounter it earlier because of the internet?
It could be both. Yeah. I mean, Toy Story kind of... throws that out there as a possibility, right? Is that tech is making kids grow up faster because it's exposing them to more things earlier.
Grow up in that way, you know. But did shit evolve? It was never hardcore vulgarity, but it's not something you would hear in a family film. No, it just wasn't when we were growing up. Yeah, Millie Alcock is basically fine, but the character grows tiresome with the improvised mess shtick and the quips and the she's not Superman thing. Yeah, I didn't think it was Alcock's fault, and it is mostly the scripts. But about half hour in, I did think, could another actress make this less mildly annoying? And I have to admit my answer was probably yes.
Yeah, almost certainly. Yeah. I think as well, I know that when she's on Krypton, she is a different person than when she leaves because she's experienced the tragedy of losing that world very slowly, as it turns out. And then how alienating it must have been to go to Earth and...
So to speak.
Not speak the language and be imbued with these powers that you don't understand or can control to begin with. So it would change you. You would be a completely different person with a completely different personality. The version of her we see on Krypton doesn't feel like the same character. No. And I think there's some things they do that they don't outright state. And because the film does outright state a lot, I don't know whether I've just imposed this on it or whether the film is actively trying to get it across. But after she meets Superman for the first time and he says, oh, your powers are about to kick in. And then we cut to her in the city looking out of the window and we hear the deafening cityscape. And she's just like, oh, this is just overwhelming. So she puts on headphones and starts listening to music to drown it out. Yes. And I thought, oh, that's the film's way of telling me this is why we're using music so much in the film. Right. Because she has kind of found an affection for music.
And drowning out the silence.
And she's drowning out the silence.
The thoughts that occupy
it. Yeah. It's that's very clever.
I'm realizing, sorry, as we're talking about it, it has quite a few similarities to a film we're going to be reviewing later, both in terms of what's wrong with it. Okay. And you could say this is a film about PTSD. Okay. Because, the way she is on Krypton, she's she's a teenage girl, basically. Yeah. But doesn't want to leave her parents. And then, she, because of all that grief and trauma, she becomes this, not lecherous, but, she becomes this drunk party girl.
Well, I don't know where that came from. Because the music stuff, I feel like it contextualizes the music stuff.
I don't mind that. I mean, it's a universal shorthand, and we understand that when people are dealing, they drink. So, I was fine with that. They drink,
but what turned her into, that kind of, quippy party girl? Oh, hang on, let me just stretch before I fight you all. Where'd that come from?
Yeah, I don't know. But I didn't particularly have a problem. I didn't need to see, a origin story for why she ended up being quippy. That's okay.
Not necessarily.
It's kind of a cynicism, isn't it? It's a sardonic sort of fuck everyone kind of thing, I suppose is where it comes from.
Yeah.
I personally didn't have a problem with that, of all the problems I had.
Okay. It didn't sit naturally with me, because like the way that Superman is...
Yeah.
Like, I don't think Superman scenes in this are better written than the rest of the film. Mm-hmm. I think he was just able to deliver it in a way that I
kind of want to come to that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But when he meets her for the first time, and he like clocks onto the fact that she doesn't speak the same language as him, and he just starts doing the, speaking louder, and he just goes, "Why am I speaking louder? Come on, please!" Like he's kind of bumbling and that works.
It's endearing.
Yeah.
There are no political irritants. There's some brief, lightweight feminist blah about
why
is he Superman and you're Supergirl. But the film isn't all that interested in it. It's pretty much brushed off in camera by her, which begs the question, why put it in at all then, if not for some tokenistic gesture toward protest?
Oh, almost certainly.
You know what I mean? Just to tick that box.
Yeah.
There is upbeating, of course, which for these so imagined irreverent type flicks is a bingo card mainstay. There's too much music in general. Halsey, Wolf Alice. It's a gal-heavy soundtrack, right? 20 minutes in with the character's essential rootlessness, all but guaranteeing that she would choose to settle on Earth at the end.
Yeah.
Along with the Femme soundtrack. I for sure thought the film would end with Heaven is a Place on Earth.
Oh, okay.
It did not, and I don't know how I feel about that.
Yeah, no, that feels like probably the right choice, isn't it? Because is that even the same... Oh no, the music's from all over the place. I was going to say, is it the same era that most of the music is pulled from?
No, obviously Halsey and Wolf Alice are modern bands. But no, I think it's all over. And the song isn't punky, but Belinda Carlisle was the lead singer of the Go-Go's, which are a female punk band. Okay. Like a prototypical female punk band. And as for that punky mainstream thing, it's been tired for a while now, you know? Maybe let's leave that energy to Gunn himself, which you kind of said earlier.
Yeah.
Maybe imitations of the style can't pull it off the same way, you know? The mission and the stakes are simple. She needs to heal her dog. But it doesn't feel like that. It feels meandering, you know?
Yeah, because there was a point in the film where I'd forgotten that Crypto was...
Yeah, what are we doing? Yeah.
I hadn't forgotten what they were doing, but like, I was like, hang on, where's Crypto?
Right.
Surely they would bring him along. And I forgot that they'd left him in that hut with that shaman or whatever.
Yeah.
Told them that it was what the poison was. So I was like, oh yeah, you don't feel... Considering they're literally on the clock, on a timer, under the gun of a timer, you don't feel it.
No, you don't. Yeah, it does feel... It's a very simple story, and those are great. You know, like, all she just wants to fix her dog.
Yeah.
And then all the other stuff can come from that, from the journey. But yeah, it feels like it's wandering. It has themes, grief, revenge. The nature of the relationship between her and the girl is dramatically solid, if not new. Don't become me, basically. A kind of space-born true grit. The kid girl out for revenge, and Kara, her rooster Cogburn, both drunks, you know, of course.
Right.
Never mind Wuthering Heights, this is a film that deserves quotation marks around it.
Yeah.
Right? But once again, that relationship is not one to which you deeply connect. Though I do think there is a mildly satisfying compliment or synthesis at the end. Kara telling the girl that life will be her revenge, not to be bitter. Resolving both arcs cleanly and with one stone. I thought, it's alright.
Yeah, but then she does kill Krem.
Yeah, she's taking that on. Like, I will do that.
Okay.
But no, I thought that was, you can resolve, it was done neatly. I just felt by then, that's good. You resolved both arcs in one fell swoop there.
Okay.
The villain, an unrecognizable Matthias Schoenaerts, I think is how you pronounce it.
Right.
Is weak. I'm all for casting the best person for the role, but they may have benefited from going with a bigger name, I think. The ultimate sign of detachment for me was no feeling of triumph or anything at all, really, when she finally dons the costume for the climactic
just felt
battle.
arbitrary.
Yeah, it's like, okay.
Yeah, like, why? Why bother?
Yeah, and indeed, the Superman cameos are probably the best moments in the film, because they remind you of a better place,
yes.
I think.
Yeah.
And there are no post-credit scenes, let's keep that up.
Okay.
Not very good, but not terrible. More a series of missed opportunities, I think. Yeah. I wouldn't call this a terrible film. It's just a bad one.
I mean, it's a film I'm never going to return to.
Same.
And
I just want to... We need to keep it in perspective with truly terrible films. It ain't one of those.
Yeah, it does feel like this year in particular, there's been a few...
yes,
yes,
they have.
Oh, this is the worst film I've seen. And you watch it and you're like, well, not really.
No,
you know.
No. Well, it's a failure.
No, yeah, it definitely is. Yeah, because especially since James Gunn has openly said, like, we are not moving forward with any projects until we have a script that we're happy with.
Yes.
That's why Clayface is like the third one, because people were like, why are you making Clayface as your third film?
Right.
forgetting the fact that Snyder made Batman v Superman second, and Justice League like third or fourth or whatever. This was the script that they were happy with?
The thing is, right, with some exceptions, it's kind of unfair to judge because sometimes on the page something can be really good.
Okay.
And you end up filming it and it just does not work out for whatever reason. So it doesn't make me impugn his talent for spotting good scripts. But yeah, when because like I said, that stuff at the end with her and the girl, it's like, I can understand that relationship you're reading and going, yeah, that's good. That's the kind of heart of this film. That's the strong thing.
Okay.
It's the fact that, especially in the first act, like, she's on like a space bus now and there's like all this technology and you're like, I can't settle in.
Yeah.
It's too much new all the time.
Yeah.
You know? Maybe that doesn't come across on the page. That comes across when the visual effects team get their hands on it. So, do you know what I mean? It's like you never really know who's at fault.
No, that's fair.
But whoever is at fault, it doesn't cohere. But again, it's not like an offensive failure. It's just a failure.
Yeah, it is. Yeah. Also funny that like there's been no mention of from us now. There's been no mention of Jason Momoa at all during this entire review.
Forgot about him. He didn't even flash in my mind as we were talking about it.
Yeah. Which shows like considering he's kind of like the one. He's kind of crossover. He's a different character, but the one crossover from the old DCU is like, okay.
Yeah, whatever.
Whatever.
It's usually what I think about Jason Momoa.
Yeah, it does feel like a very Jason Momoa character.
Yes,
doesn't it?
Yeah, now definitely.
Yeah,
before it would, because now he's kind of playing on that. I'm a big guy, so I'll be like Chris Hemsworth.
Yeah.
Before it was like the original Thor.
Yeah.
You know, it was like him, like Khal Drogo in Game of Thrones, and then Stargate. Like, no, I am big and serious. And, I think that's enough said about Supergirl.
Yeah, I guess we don't recommend it.
We don't.
No.
Shame. It is a shame, yeah. But that's the thing, it's a shame.
Yeah.
It's not like, yeah, good, it fucking sucks. It's a shame, yeah. Animal Farm.
Andy Serkis is the ringleader of this animated adaptation. Thank you.
I did think you slightly mispronounced that, and then you made it work.
I did. Yeah. Thank you. Of George Orwell's Animal Farm, updated and tweaked for a modern audience in the modern day. For one thing, the system which the whole story about animals ousting their human farmer only for other animals to eventually fill that void has been changed from Stalinism to capitalism.
Yes.
Another change is the fact that this film, unlike the book, is shit. It's horse shit.
So not bothered? Okay.
It's bullshit. It's dog shit. It's bloody not on, frankly.
Is it pig shit?
Is that an expression?
Pig shit. I don't know. Maybe I've heard the phrase, but maybe only in relation to pig shit.
Yeah. Because I think all of those have slightly different connotations, right? Bullshit is more like, oh, it's lies. And
bullshit is lies. Horse shit. Oh, no, that's kind of the same
I think
thing.
That's just bad, right? Oh, no, horse shit is lies too.
Yeah, that's... Yeah. I think bat shit and bullshit is the big...
Right.
Bullshit is lies. Yeah. Bat shit is crazy.
Yeah.
Maybe we'll pick this up on another.
Okay.
But yeah.
Well, I'm not lying. The film is not good.
Should we not bother with the review? I mean, you just said it's shit. So, directed by Andy Serkis, like you said. Written by Nicholas Stoller of Yes Man, Gulliver's Travels, Sex Tape, Zoolander 2, Storks, and You're Cordially Invited.
Well, there you go then.
George Orwell's Animal Farm is a work of genius. This is not.
Yes.
I have...
Oh, so you were going to give the game away.
I was. There's no avoiding it, really. Is there?
Yeah.
I haven't seen Mowgli or Let There Be Carnage, Andy Serkis' last films, because they came out BP before podcast.
Okay.
At least the way we do it now. A simpler, gentler time. As a performer, Andy Serkis is a man to whom I would ascribe integrity. He's a very good actor. He pioneered motion capture with the Imaginarium, and he just seems like a nice bloke. But I have no handle on him as a filmmaker. Like, I don't know what his thing is meant to be. He just seems to have made a few films.
Yeah, I get the impression, and again, I'm speaking as someone that's only really... I've seen this. I don't think I've seen another one of his films.
No.
I think he's just a guy that can handle actors well.
Right.
I don't think he... Like, as a filmmaker, in terms of, like, outside of visual effects stuff, I don't know if that's where he excels. I think where he excels is he can look after the actors.
Yes. Yeah. Like he's a... What's the word I'm looking for?
Shepherd?
No, not shepherd, though that would have worked.
Yeah.
Advocate. He's an advocate, you know?
Yeah.
I always remember Michael C. Hall saying he became a producer on Dexter so he could be an advocate for, like, the guest actors and that kind of thing. But yeah, I suppose I'd have imagined that he'd have approached Animal Farm in the right spirit, because I trust the guy, I guess. So, superficially, the design and animation are personalityless.
Yep.
I haven't done a deep dive, but there are 3 production companies behind this.
Okay.
The Imaginarium, Cinesight, which put out No Malone and Smurfs.
Oh dear.
And Anaventure, which put out Hit Pig and Paws of Fury.
Okay.
They're low-rent animation folk. Though they had some involvement with Klaus, which is alright.
Yeah, Klaus is good.
Yeah.
A film that I don't think its style hasn't been replicated since, I don't think.
Yes, that is very much the standout.
Well, what's Angel's involvement? Are they just distribution?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, the Angel Guild. Yeah, they vote on whether a film is kind of... and there's something about ethics, like, oh, that's an ethically pure movie. We'll kind of put that out, sends the right message.
Yeah.
If you peruse the back catalogue of those companies, you'll see this fits in. Like, if anything, it stands out because of the publicity afforded by the source material.
Absolutely.
Right? I don't know if Circus approached bigger companies. I know that Netflix initially had distribution rights but dropped them. Or whether he always wanted to keep it in-house, I offer you those credentials because there's a rap song by Pigeon John, new to me, over the title sequence, introducing the film as what a parody of a Clueless adaptation would look like. Like an artist is pitching his vision to an executive who responds, yes, and we'll get Jason Derulo to do the theme and Seth Rogen to voice Napoleon, and with his laugh, and we'll have farts, The point being, what many might imagine to be the result of corporate interference could well be the opposite. Nobody with a decent enough head on their shoulders to say this won't fly.
Okay.
You know what I mean? If you're an absolute master, you might be able to execute a version of Animal Farm as a mainstream kids animated movie where the happy hip-hop and the gas gags feel like obvious distractions, belying the sinister realities of the plot. Right?
Yeah, definitely.
Like we're doing the bad knockabout studio version of what this movie would be as a commentary on sanitization.
There's, weirdly, I saw this the other day. You were talking earlier about, like, oh, have you ever, like, found a show you watched when you were younger? And you're like, I remember that. I've watched some Big Train sketches again recently. And there's one in that, isn't there, where, like, I think it's in the first episode, where Mark Heap is, like, a boss in an office.
Yes.
And the employees are coming and going, like, look, you promised us this bonus. We would like you to pay us the bonus now. Right. And Mark Heap's like, I totally understand what you're saying. I've been dragging my heels. I'm going to do it now. Just do one thing for me. Pick a card, any card.
Yeah.
And he's like he distracts them with, like, puppies or magic or something, and then he runs away. And it would be a similar thing where it's actually, like, using this is like Clueless family adaptation stuff to distract the animals from the fact they are slowly taking over.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
That would be a way of approaching it.
Yeah.
Like, because you're baking in that sense of obfuscation and propaganda.
Yeah.
In a very meta way. Where it actually becomes about market pressures too.
Yeah.
It's not only about that, it's about how films get made.
Yeah, definitely.
Something for the adults in the room.
That's actually kind of exciting. Like, I like that idea a lot. Yeah.
Animal Farm doesn't need it, but I wouldn't be opposed to that kind of layering. Yeah, it would be an interesting take. Orwell actually wrote an essay called Politics and the English Language, where he talked about how euphemisms are used for concealment, right? Even more delicious if that self-reflexiveness bespoke the actual nature of the production, and the artist was getting back at the suits.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, kind of hiding that stuff. It's very hard to do smart dumb, right?
Yeah.
That's not what this is. It is exactly what it is.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
I won't say that it tramples on Orwell's grave. Let's all be a little less precious, especially considering most people leveling those complaints have not read any Orwell.
Okay.
You, of course, now have.
I have, yes. Yeah. I decided to read Animal Farm because it felt like the big conversation around it was how it kind of...
Its divergence from
how it comports itself as an adaptation and why... that's what makes the film so bad.
Yes.
It's a bad film in its own right, but it's the fact that it's doing it at the expense of Animal Farm.
Yes.
So I was like, all right, well, it's not long. I'll read Animal Farm.
Yes. Proud of you.
Thank you. Yeah, it was a bit of a, like, I don't know how Sam's going to take this because you keep telling me to read more.
Yes. And I was like, if you choose one thing, I mean, I know it's short, so it's a good kind of entry level. But it's not like, oh God, if you had to choose one thing, why that? It's a good one thing to choose.
Yeah, no, it was very good. I was surprised actually at how cold and sort of like, it's like it's reporting on the events rather than telling them.
Yes.
Because there's like every chapter, or a lot of the chapters, it seems like most of the chapter is, and then they did this, and then they worked, and then they farmed, and then they slept, and then they did that.
There's a mix-
and then there's like a set piece at the end.
There's a mixture of like inevitability that you get in like a history book.
Yeah.
And like a biblical telling, which is very much, and then he begat blah blah, and that it's just like all these big things happen, and they're just kind of quite flippantly disclosed to you,
which is really effective in the final chapter.
Yes.
When it's years after the revolution, basically all of the animals are dead.
Yeah.
There's only like 1 or 2 left that were alive during that time, and this new reality that the pigs have kind of established, it is reality. Everyone just takes it as a fact.
Yeah, no one remembers except the donkey.
Yes, Benjamin.
Yeah. That's right.
So it's kind of like, oh god, this is horrible. There's like literally nothing they can do because they don't realize anything's wrong.
It's a desolate picture, isn't it? The only, like, let's say worry is that it will give a generation of kids the wrong impression of Animal Farm.
Yes.
But A, they ain't going to be reading anyway.
Okay.
B, this grossed $6 million on a budget of 35. Nobody cares.
No.
And C, as they get older, pop culture will inform them this isn't representative.
Yeah.
Right? Osmosis, that will kind of sink in. But beyond all that, I don't think this adaptation undermines the original's worldview. It's actually more of an extension, almost a sequel in some ways.
In what ways?
Like you said, the novella ends with the pigs meeting with the humans, and the two being indistinguishable. The pigs are walking up right now, and all that, representing the political alliances that compromised the supposed ideologies of Soviet Russia, that lined the pockets of the leaders, right? That's more what this is doing. Greed, corporate corruption. So build on the final scene. Show how that decadence took even further root. How Stalin became a private capitalist while keeping his own people mired in poverty and misery, right? I do think it's questionable to use the name Animal Farm to criticize a different ism.
Yeah.
And I do actually see the thinking behind the pivot. It's not 1945. Stalinism isn't quite as pressing an issue right now. But Orwell was a democratic socialist. He did write critically on capitalism. So while straying into a different anti-philosophy, it's not like it sings the praises of Stalinism.
Okay.
You know? I've heard Christopher Hitchens, who's an Orwell scholar, say that Orwell dealt with 3 major ideological crises of the 20th century. Imperialism, with Burmese Days, Leninism, Stalinism with Animal Farm in 1984, and fascism, which he barely wrote about because he found it so self-evidently repulsive.
Okay.
Instead, he actually fought against the fascists in Spain.
Oh, right.
Physically.
Okay.
If you're interested in Orwell, then listen to Hitchens talk about him. Why Orwell Matters, a series of lectures. Okay. Very good. Both Emmanuel Goldstein in 1984 and Snowball represent Leon Trotsky, for whom Orwell had a greater sympathy, if not an allegiance. There is something sickeningly modern and implicative of the virtues of intersectional politics about Snowball being voiced by a black trans woman.
Yeah, but then again, Snowball's role has been reduced such that if you took that character out, nothing would change.
Yeah.
Because I mean, when I read the book, and I can't remember how far in it is. I think it's in the earlier chapters, when Snowball is chased off the farm.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe it's just kind of like, because I'm used to more modern stories. I don't know. I'm waiting for Snowball to triumphantly return, and like take the fight to Napoleon, and Snowball never does.
No, Snowball was assassinated in Mexico. You know,
was it?
Trotsky was exiled and assassinated.
I see. Okay, yeah. So like, it reaches a point in the book where you realize, oh yeah, Snowball's never coming back.
Yeah.
Whereas in the film, I think they make it pretty like Snowball's introduced and then almost immediately exiled.
Yes.
And I think the film basically says, like, that's the end of Snowball.
Yeah.
There's no more Snowball. It's like, all right, why even bother? Especially since
this isn't the structure of this isn't the hero's journey. It's the structure of reality, which is there's this person that offers hope and then they're gone and they stay gone.
Which would mean...
I'm not saying it works in the film. I'm saying that's why Snowball works.
Yeah, it doesn't work in the film because you've introduced this new pig character played by the Stranger Things boy.
Gaten Matarazzo.
Yeah. That imposes a happy ending on the film.
Yeah, we'll definitely come to that.
Yeah, but it's just like, well, there is a place for Snowball now as kind of like a hopeful triumphant.
Right, I see what you're saying.
But yeah, they still get rid of Snowball as if it matters, but then almost immediately just like...
Makes me think of Irving in Severance. There's this kind of thing now where people want, oh, now you've been exiled.
Yeah.
Now you have to lead the resistance back to Lumen. Yes. You know what I mean? It has a more contemporary overlay generally, right? In fact, to my mind, Snowball more represented Hillary Clinton in this.
Okay.
Napoleon is Trump here, winning everyone over with comedy and insulting his opponent. When Snowball says, "You're all too stupid to understand," it had the whiff of Basket of Deplorables to me.
Okay.
I don't know if I'm just reading that into it, but then Napoleon says she's tired and should go on a nice long vacation. You know, the Hillary health stuff and lock her up and all that. I found Jim Parsons voicing a sheep moderately entertaining.
Okay.
There's a new character, like you said, Lucky, that serves as the protagonist. Not the worst instinct in the world, considering the novella is a relatively impersonal account. I reread it as well before the film.
Okay.
And while this isn't a review of that, I wanted to mention that, as far as I'm concerned, the most despicable character is the cat.
Well, you would say that,
and it's not just because it's a cat.
Okay.
When they call a vote early on our rats comrades, the cat votes for both sides.
Okay.
Tries to convince the sparrows to rest on his paw. He disappears when all the other animals are working. He's an opportunistic piece of shit.
Well, the crow's like that, though, right?
The crow.
Or the raven, whichever one it is. There's a bird that, pops in every now and again.
But it pops in every now and again. It ain't a resident of Animal Farm.
Okay.
You know? The thing is, the readership for Animal Farm really starts with teenagers. But this is a children's film, so you have to remove all the nastiness and complexity, without which it just doesn't work.
Yeah, it's not Animal Farm.
It's not Animal Farm.
Yeah.
It also doesn't touch upon a truth that is often neglected in these things: power and cruelty for its own sake, which is beautifully expressed in 1984 in particular. Animal Farm is meant to be a bleak, ultimately hopeless tale, and this is not. That's a fundamental diversion, and if there's a betrayal, it's that, I think. While the Trump as demagogue take with that, I guess the suggestion is that his own people will see they've been conned and oust him, which reveals a couple of fatal flaws in this allegory. Trump is in some ways unembarrassable, at least insofar as that reaches or matters to his base, and you can't unvote the guy in, and he's going to be gone in a couple of years.
Yeah. Although, hasn't he started showing up places with a 2028 hat?
Well, let's say, if Trump is still there after this term ends, I've said it before, I'll eat all the words.
Yeah.
Misjudged. All the words.
Yeah.
Unlike Stalin or Napoleon, you don't even have to wait for him to die. But so often that's the way it goes. As Chaplin says at the end of The Great Dictator, so long as men die, liberty will never perish. So the actual allegory would be, right, if we're going by Soviet Russia, this is the actual allegory. Returning to the idea of this as a sequel, by the way. Napoleon just dies. Animalism withers for decades until it's totally unsustainable. Mikhail, I can't decide between Gorbachev or Pigachev.
Okay.
So what do you think?
I like Pigachev.
Mikhail Pigachev hoses all the rules off the silo, lets the animals make and keep their own money, all the various species declare their own sovereign farms, and the pigs do in with all the committees and let the remaining animals in Animal Farm, now just called Farm, vote on their leaders. Kind of. 10 years later, Napoleon III is elected, and 20 years after that, he launches an invasion of the horse farm, and here we all are.
Okay.
In 2026. You want to do an Animal Farm that's not quite Animal Farm? Do a Putin allegory. There was once this glorious place called Animal Farm, and we need to restore it.
Okay.
Do you know what I mean? That's another take you could do.
Yeah.
I think that's... I don't know, I feel like if I'm doing Animal Farm, I'm doing Animal Farm. But if I have to do something that's not quite, it's that. I'll do Putin.
Is this, is a sort of better way to go about it, what you've kind of alluded to? It's a similar thing that Damon Lindelof did with Watchmen.
Right.
Where he went, there's no way I'm doing a satisfying adaptation of Watchmen, so I'm going to do a sequel.
I'll do a sequel. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And you can cover many of the same. It's Napoleon III, you know? Because obviously the thing I like about that is, with the allegory, Napoleon III was very much the successor to Napoleon in that sense of like an emperor that had gone wrong, basically. Okay. And Putin is very much the new Stalin, you know, in that respect. So it works nicely. The film ends with History Repeating by Shirley Bassey, the song, accompanied by a series of faux paintings depicting the corruption of power through the ages. Slave drivers in Egypt, Marie Antoinette, all that.
But they're all pigs.
And Let the Meat Swill. And you can certainly extrapolate many of the themes of Animal Farm more broadly. But that novella was about a specific phenomenon. And I'd be wary of wandering too far from that.
Yeah.
At the end of the credits, we're presented with, this movie is dedicated to those who are oppressed, because your time will certainly come. And to those who oppress, because your time will definitely be over. whatever, artlessly worded.
Yeah.
For one, your time will come typically implies a threat, no? But mostly, the film is dedicated to those who are oppressed too. Bizarre.
Yeah.
It's emblematic of the film's general confusion, I think.
Okay.
If I do say so myself, this was a far more intelligent passing than this film deserves.
Yes.
I don't want to suggest, even in disagreement, it's something to be taken seriously, that we must contend with this worldview. It's a lazy, dumb, cheap kids film. It just happens to be the retarded grandchild of something that does need to be taken seriously. It's bad. It's very bad. But I'm not that angry about it because it doesn't contradict the author. It just doesn't represent him.
Okay.
You know? That's kind of my big takeaway. So it's a terrible film.
Yes.
But I'm not as angry as everybody else. Because but it's capitalism now. Yeah, he wasn't too hot. But it's not even capitalism. It's corporate corruption is what it really is. He wasn't hot on that either. Do you know what I mean? Yeah, it's not like it's switched. It doesn't make a case for communism, basically.
No, yeah, it doesn't do that. But it does beg the question, was like, well, Animal Farm does feel very tailored to its allegory.
Yeah, I think it's a big mistake to do. I understand the logic.
Yeah.
I'm like, what's the big ism that's a problem in the world today? I would have chosen something different.
Yeah.
But I get that. But it's like, well, then just don't do Animal Farm.
Yeah.
Just don't touch it. You know what I mean? That's all I have to say about it.
Yeah, I mean, it's probably the worst adaptation of the year, right?
Oh, I'd have to think about that, but I'm not resistant to that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's down there for me.
Yeah.
You know, like, I really disliked it. Because, like I said, just as a film, if you have it within you, somehow...
to separate the
to divorce it from Animal Farm, the book, it's still...
It's a bad film.
It's an unpleasant experience. Like you said, the animation is ugly. A lot of the characters...
Another, I think, little microcosm that you can... So, Squealer is Napoleon's Minister of Propaganda, essentially, right? Is Pravda, is the Russian newspaper, the Soviet newspaper.
Yeah.
And in this... So, in the book, he goes around to everyone like, don't you know, this is actually what happened. They're like, no, it didn't. No, believe me, look, I wouldn't lie. You know, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
In the film, he's a hype man. It's Kieran Culkin running out of the house going, hey, it's Napoleon, like Big Daddy G or whatever it is. That's what the film is.
Yeah. Absolutely. And also, weirdly, like, because in the penultimate chapter, Boxer injures himself to the point where they actually take him away to be glued.
Yeah.
And
well, is that how that's said?
I don't know if that's the way.
Yeah, they don't glue him to something.
No.
They make him into glue.
They make him into glue, yeah. And it's
that was... I just want to say, when I was rereading the book, I was like, obviously this is just objectively miserable.
Yeah.
He's been taken away, but I was like... Because Boxer is the most pure character.
Yeah.
I
do think Woody Harrelson does a decent job with him.
Yeah. He's the Russian worker. He's just the guy that isn't educated, can't read, has to trust in authority. And he's been taken away. But I thought like, but there's kind of a grim... He has sort of accepted his lot and it's just going to let himself be taken away. But then he starts trying to kick to get out of the van.
Yeah.
No! That made it so much worse.
Yeah.
But yeah, go on.
Yeah, but I think, like... I don't know if it's outright said they're going to turn him into glue. I think you kind of intuit it from what the book gives you.
In the book, you mean?
Yeah.
They see it written on the side. But then Squealer says, it was bought by a vet, but they didn't change
They haven't repainted it.
Yeah, they haven't repainted it, yeah.
And then after like a day or two, they're like, he died.
Yeah.
They couldn't
he
say
died surrounded with the best doctors, and Napoleon himself sent like a basket of fruit or whatever.
Yes, exactly. Yeah.
Whereas
in the film, Boxer is being like airlifted off the farm, and it cuts to Kieran Culkin going, Operation Glued Tar is underway. It's like, that's worse. That's
so disrespectful.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not a recommendation.
It's not a recommendation. It's a bad film.
Yeah.
Okay, and the Odyssey.
Indeed.
Don't do your premise yet.
Okay.
Because I think there's stuff to talk about before the actual review.
Okay.
When we talked about Citizen Vigilante, I joked that it was the most controversial film of the year besides The Odyssey, which was somewhat tongue-in-cheek, but of course nobody has seen Citizen Vigilante, so by dint of sheer scale, that tongue has to return to the mouth floor.
Okay.
And like Citizen Vigilante, comments have even been disabled on illegal streaming sites.
Oh, for the Odyssey?
For the Odyssey.
Wow, okay.
So let's start with all that talk before anyone had seen the film, okay? To my mind, there were 4 big contentions.
Okay.
Maybe you can add some, but these are the 4 biggies. Historical accuracy.
Yeah.
Right. It is reasonable to conclude that the Trojan War was a genuine event.
Okay, because there are some people that wouldn't even go that far. There are people saying, like, it never happened. You're a fool for thinking it even happened.
Okay. I think that the historical consensus is that something like that happened.
Okay.
Likely taking place just over 1,000 years before Christ. So it has a historical context. Now, Homer's Odyssey is a work of literature that unfolds in that context, like Saving Private Ryan in World War II. Not a true story, a true context. But so buried is all that in the distant past, our certainties can only extend so far. But Odysseus is a fiction, Helen of Troy is a fiction, the gods of the tale are of course fictions. So while a demand for historical accuracy can be made somewhat fairly, it can't be the thing of the thing, right?
Yeah.
I'm pushed to ask, really, who cares? But people seem to care.
Okay.
And I know that the internet is not a real place, but every single post about the Odyssey is rife with those laugh reactions. This implication that everyone is so smart and above it just boils my blood.
Okay.
One of the many problems with the internet is that it has democratized opinion, to which everyone is entitled, but it's like Animal Farm without the sinister. Some opinions are better than others, right? Like Animal Farm, the vast majority of these smug complainants haven't read the Odyssey. That should not be mandatory to watch the film.
I mean, we haven't, right?
We haven't.
Yeah.
But if one is going to ride so high and so gallopingly on one's Trojan horse, one might consider familiarizing oneself with the original text.
Okay.
I haven't got around to it myself. I assume it's a relatively demanding beast.
That's what I'm... From the people I've spoken to that are giving it a go, that's what I've gathered.
Yeah, it isn't Dan Brown or Harry Potter, right?
Yeah.
Most people are frankly not up to it. And if I belong in that camp, I'm happy to admit it. And if that sounds like intellectual snobbery, it's not. It's intellectual realism. So prove me wrong, everyone. Look, read the thing.
Yeah.
You know? And when did so many people become experts on ancient Greek history? Like, has this film uncovered a heretofore idle hive of scholars?
Right.
No. And look, I know it's foolish to let myself get irritated over this stuff, but sometimes certain things just break through, you know? It was the same with COVID, the same with any important topic. Self-elected experts on all sides, what I'm calling the all-seeing, S-E-E-Ing-I.
Okay.
As in capital I.
Right.
It has more power when you see it written down.
Okay.
The same goes for those blindly defending the film. The point is, as accuracy goes, the presence of a helicopter would be worthy of comment.
Yeah.
Not the precise configuration and ornamentation of helmets.
Okay.
You know? A narrative feature must provide the impression of accuracy. You have to believe in whatever world it presents to you.
I think we've said it multiple times when we were reviewing, like, The Pit, for example, right?
Yeah.
We have no idea if that show is medically accurate at all, even with all of the people that have said, oh, it seems very medically accurate.
Yes.
But you trust it. Mm-hmm. It earns your trust.
It makes you believe in it.
It knows what it's talking about, or at least it knows that stuff well enough to tell a story.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. So as long as I'm not doubting you,
Yeah.
who cares? So that's the first one.
Okay.
2. Lupita Nyong'o as Helen of Troy. Again, Helen weren't real, so should be is a rather dubious. At best, the criticisms around this casting are kind of dumb. At worst, they're outright racist.
Okay.
I think this is one of those instances where the resistance to so inferred woke casting does actually reveal a bigotry.
Okay.
Because usually people complain about things in the past. You go, oh, it shows you're a race. Like, no, they've got a point. This is one of those ones where, like, oh, it does seem to be uncovering some stuff there.
Okay.
Not necessarily in the critique alone. From what I've read, the beefiest beef concerns the idea that Lupita Nyong'o isn't as hot as Diane Kruger, right? Who played her in Troy.
Yeah.
But the way it's being expressed is vile. And I know everything now is pissing irony.
Yeah.
But it's become indistinguishable from sincere racism. Adopt a persona long enough, online or otherwise, and it becomes you. And it's not becoming.
Yeah.
Lupita Nyong'o's beauty is, frankly and a matter of the beholder's eye. I'll admit, when I think upon the most beautiful woman in the world, my mind does not instantly run to Nyong'o.
No.
I do prefer Kruger, personally. But that's me. Like, Lupus is still lodged firmly and squarely in the realm of pulchritude. Like, both of my eyelids remained unbatted when I heard of her casting.
Okay.
You know, I was like, sure, why not? There are plenty of actresses whose aspects would be more universally regarded as ugly. Those one would cast if one wanted to make a statement about beauty, you know? We're not talking about Lena Dunham or Dale Dickey here.
Yes.
No offense to Dale Dickey. So that's the second one.
Offense to
Yes.
Lena Dunham, though?
Yes.
Yeah,
yes,
okay.
yes.
All right.
That was the upshot.
Yeah.
3. Elliot Page and woke Nolan.
Yeah.
Look, I don't like Elliot Page, okay? I just don't. She said plenty of stupid things.
Yeah.
But I highly doubt that Nolan was pressured into the casting by woke studio bigwigs, if for no other reason than the fact that many recent woke movies have tanked, right? The bottom line is all that matters to these guys. I think it's simply a case of Nolan working with actors he likes consistently. My suspicion, and I have nothing to back it up but my cultivated sense of the man from interviews, is that he probably doesn't give a fuck about the trans issue at all, right? The notion that he's woke is ridiculous. I don't know what his politics are. I don't care what they are. He claims that he strives for his films to be apolitical, and I believe him. But if anything, the stories and themes across his filmography suggest a light conservatism.
Okay.
But really just sensible balance. The Dark Knight trilogy makes a case for the necessity of order and institutions, while acknowledging the need to vanquish the corruption within. The series is also implicitly anti-mob rule, and it deals with the noble lie, a concept often associated with conservative thought. Basically the importance of myth for a species ill-equipped to handle foundational truths.
Okay.
Historically, the left would have rejected these illusions and the hubris of such a position. But the left deals in its own illusions, of course. The point being, Nolan is far from woke. I suspect he's contemptuous of modern identity politics, right? And while we're at it, woke does not mean liberal or of the left or centrist or the mere casting of minorities. Even in its co-opted derogatory definition, it's a term that's close to having been completely stripped of meaning.
Okay.
And that denuding continues. And 4, no Greeks.
Yeah.
A film of this scale and budget needs to be bankable. And it makes fiscal sense to hire the likes of Matt Damon, Tom Holland, Zendaya, Robert Pattinson. I'm sure there are plenty of excellent Greek actors that could fill the roles, but that's not realistic for a project of this scale. It's just business. The film has to make money. And while there are actors of note of Greek descent, there aren't enough for a cast of this size. Name a famous, actually Greek actor.
Fully Greek.
Greek.
None spring to mind.
Right.
Yeah.
There aren't any, right? Like, I googled it, and there's Irene Papas I'd heard of from generations ago.
Okay.
There aren't any.
Okay.
Name one of Greek heritage.
Just purely on the name, I'm going to guess Zach Galifianakis.
Zach Galifianakis, Hank Azaria,
Okay.
John Stamos, Jennifer Aniston. There's some that have some Greek
Jennifer
heritage.
Aniston?
Yeah, I didn't know about
That's a
either.
curveball,
Exactly. I
yeah.
knew she was Jewish. I don't know Greek and I don't know what was
Okay.
going on there. Assuming that they are good casting choices for whatever role, that's 4.
Yeah.
Right? Certainly none that are actually Greek, which says nothing about the caliber of Hellenic talent. Just for whatever reason, there hasn't been a breakout international Greek star.
Okay.
That just hasn't happened. I'll add here, John Leguizamo, you really need to fuck off with all your nonsense at this point. You know?
Yeah.
So before its release, those were the 4 big contentions. Any that I'm missing?
None that spring to mind. Yeah, there was just this general sense of like, oh yeah, the film is kind of like woke bullshit.
Yes.
And we've lost Nolan to it all. And
Right.
It doesn't deserve our money or our attention. It's going to tank. It's going to flop.
Yes, that's the thing. It's interesting. Even though the backlash against the backlash has all been about calling out racism, transphobia, incels, all that, the most curious thing about the backlash is that elements of the left and right have managed to accidentally cohere.
Okay.
From the left, the lack of inclusivity. From the right, the straying from purely European casting.
Okay.
The left-right thing, whatever that means now, isn't a grid. It's a sphere. Go far enough around and you'll meet in the middle. Ask Jews. Right?
Right. Okay.
So many people have invested in the Odyssey emerging a flop, right? As though it would validate their worldview. Firstly, it's a hit. Of course it's a hit. But had it been a flop, it would say nothing about any of the points we've talked about there. Nobody is avoiding this film because of perceived inaccuracies or anachronisms, a black Helen of Troy or a trans actor, maybe a few hundred worldwide. Like, it's negligible. In any case, it's possible to maintain one's opinions about all of these things now that the film is a success. You don't like the costume design or the fact that Helen of Troy is black? It's like your opinion, man.
Yeah.
I think it's very unwise to marry the virtue of one's criticisms to the film's box office results. Like, oh, you'll see him right when the returns come in. Maybe just leave it at, I wouldn't fuck Nyong'o with your cock. Right?
Okay.
I think that's really dumb to do.
I think
that.
part of it as well is because a lot of criticism seems to have come from the right. They seem to be the most vocal on the matter. They're the ones I'm hearing from more in terms of the Odyssey.
I would agree.
And I think in those respects, they often use box office figures as a metric for the success
the right
of the
is
film.
more capitalistically oriented. It's,
Yeah. Like, was it Ben Shapiro that was like, oh, the highest grossing film should be nominated for...
Yeah, a lot of conservatives, like, if
yeah.
you want to watch the Oscars, you need to nominate films that people watch, and like, obviously we are very against that.
Yes.
But again, all that, the same applies to the film's defenders. Plenty of great films have flopped. Plenty of awful ones have been hits. More than plenty. Do we really need to say that a film's artistic value is not measured by its revenue? Do we really have to fucking say that?
Yeah.
People miss quality films for a whole bunch of complicated and random reasons. Sunshine, the Danny Boyle film, came out on the hottest day of the year, so it didn't do well.
Okay.
And opening weekend is everything in the movie business, so that's that gem flushed, you know? It's such a stupid game to play, this whole thing. Basically, to all these noisemakers, get a life, right?
Okay.
I could see being worried about the success of a morally questionable film and what that might reveal about mass appeal. The Odyssey was plainly nothing nefarious before anyone had seen it, you know? It's Christopher Nolan. It's an old school, one of the oldest, adventure movie, and those tend to do well on that basis alone. In any case, don't we already know that public appetite has a putrid streak? Gossip rags, public beheadings, the MCU. We know this already. And all of that, to re-clarify, was before a single cunt punter had seen it, right? Cunt punter, some regrettably violent imagery. But yes, now it's done well, right? Before we saw it, more irritations proliferated. The defenders basking in their specious vindication, saying things like, oh, so it's go woke and go broke, is it? Shows what you know. Shut up.
Yeah.
When asked what she would say to Homer, Lupita Nyong'o said she would challenge him on the limited representation of women in his epics. A quick Google informs me that for its time, the Odyssey was notable for its inclusion of women.
Okay.
So shut up. Nyong'o also struggled to name her favourite mythological character when quizzed about it. People responded, this is embarrassing, you're being paid to have some expertise here. No, she isn't. She's a working actress. She doesn't need to have a favourite Greek god, you fucking losers.
Right.
Shut up.
Do you, out of curiosity,
have a favourite Greek god?
Yeah.
I'd have to think about it. None that spring to mind.
Okay.
Do you?
I mean, like, my instinct is to go to Hades.
Of course.
Because it seems like Hades is sort of he's the outlier in the sense that he's never the one on Olympus.
He's also both a place and... Hades is both a place and a god.
Both a place and a god. But in certain adaptations, he always seems to be portrayed as like the kind of the worker god.
Right.
Like, he's not up on the mountain lounging and kind of basking in all the glories and gifts and whatnot. He's down in the underworld, like making sure people get where they need to go.
With the voice of James Woods.
Yes. Yeah. Obviously, there's more kind of like Shakespearean and kind of like, you know, ridiculous, like villainous portrayals of Hades. But they're the ones I always like the most. Where Hades is like, no, he's a guy doing a job.
Right, right. It kind of reminds me of that Luciferian thing about like he questioned God's absolute authority or whatever and was banned. It's like, maybe the dude had a point. Yeah. You know? Ben Shapiro called it a masterpiece, about which many articles were written.
Okay.
Erstwhile supporters alleged that he'd sold out. He's taken a check from Universal.
Right.
Opponents retorted, who asked him anyway? Like, who cares what he thinks?
Yeah.
Why is this a story? Like, you don't have to care what anyone thinks.
Well, this is the problem. That it sort of incentivizes, if you're kind of binding yourself to a political bracket.
Yeah.
This is why I try to avoid it. Is because if you go against the grain, it's lose-lose.
Right.
Because the people who you're supposed to be in alignment with, this is exactly it. They'll call you like a sellout, or they'll say that you betrayed your people or whatever. But it doesn't mean the people on the other side are going to start liking you. They're still going to treat you like shit.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so...
I think that's more a thing with the left. I think if someone on the left said something that was kind of... that resonated with the right, they would be more, come on in. Okay. I think that, I mean, you see like Daily Wire is fucking hoovering up cancelled actors, right?
Yeah.
I think the left is more judgmental in that respect. Yeah. In that respect. But like, whatever you think, it is a story that he said that, and I'll add a happy one. Like, you've spent months calling critics racists and incels, then you wonder why people are writing about the most prominent conservative commentator in America giving the film a positive review, you know? A film that so-called MAGA had trashed before seeing, and indeed after. Shapiro even added that Page's casting, which, he wasn't hot about, shouldn't stop people from going and enjoying it. Like, can we not appreciate some semblance of a gesture towards healing here? Like something. Like, fuck everyone, man. Yeah. Seriously, shut up. And then there's Emily Wilson, upon whose translation Nolan mostly based the screenplay. She wrote that she'd be embarrassed to have written the script for reasons that I can't be bothered to go into.
Okay.
It doesn't really matter what you think of her stance. Like, maybe I even agree with a lot of it. It's the classlessness of it, right? It reminds me of that Dave Chappelle thing with Weinstein. It's like, yo, my man, this is the most unprofessional shit I've ever seen. In all my days.
Yeah. I think she does in the final paragraph, though. And I don't know whether this is just her way of being like...
conciliatory.
Yeah. I think in the final paragraph, she does say, this is still something to be celebrated.
Yeah, fine.
Yeah.
But like Joyce Carol Oates, another writer, called her out, saying... Wilson might have been a bit more respectful to a director that's going to boost sales of her translation.
Which she acknowledges in her review.
Okay.
Yeah.
But then she added, Oates, that Wilson used the crude language of MAGA folks. It's just a never-ending echo chamber of funhouse mirrors.
Yes.
Like, shut up.
Yeah.
And I think now we need to just do the actual review because this will all go on forever. So premise us.
Okay. From woke retarded director Christopher Nolan...
Oh, it works even better now.
I was so happy when you were like, wait.
Yeah.
I've been trying to like not smile through your whole tirade. Comes the Odyssey.
That's some woke retarded shit.
The first film shot entirely in IMAX, but merely the latest, worst film certain corners of the internet have ever seen.
Yeah.
After successfully conquering the city of Troy, spoiler alert, Matt Damon's Odysseus just wants to get him and his men home safely. But all of the gods and monsters of ancient Greece really, really don't want that for some reason. And so what should be a simple commute turns into quite the expedition.
You're talking about our experience of trying to watch it? Or
there is also that.
Yeah.
Do you want to... I mean, this is...
I just find it interesting. I thought, as you were speaking, maybe that was going to be your thing, like a laborious expedition. Hurdles, distractions, like... And that was just us trying to see it.
Yeah.
Yeah, like, it was hard for us to see.
Well, firstly... I mean, people have made a big thing of the fact that, this is the first film shot entirely in IMAX.
Yes.
But there's only like 15 cinemas in the world. Maybe it's not that, like 3 in the UK.
In the precise configuration.
Yes.
Yeah.
To see it in the exact, like the perfect format for it. We saw it in IMAX, but I think the IMAX we saw it in, we lost about 20%.
Yeah, there's a watered down version of it. But it's still IMAX,
But then if you go to see it in just a normal cinema, you lose nearly like half the image because it has to be cropped. Because the aspect ratio is different.
Yeah, it's more of a square than a rectangle.
And I think with with proper IMAX, I think they put the film through horizontally or something.
Right.
So you get more of the picture or it kind of... It's to help with the resolution or something like that.
Yeah.
So initially we were going to go see it in the cinema, but we were like, no, there's an IMAX cinema not far from us. Not one of the ones, but we'll go see it there.
Yeah. Middle ground.
Middle ground, yeah. We ended up having to reschedule, but we went yesterday at 10:10 in the evening on a Saturday to a capital city.
Yes.
The touristy part of a capital city.
Yeah.
And for some reason I thought, oh no, we'll find parking.
Yeah.
But we didn't.
We did not.
So we had to go all around the place trying to find somewhere to park. We eventually found one in a street where a wedding was happening in a mosque.
Yeah.
So the street was just full of people. But we did manage to find a space. And then we had to power walk over to where the cinema was, walk around the building because the entrance we tried to go in was blocked off. Walked into the cinema. I got my app out that had the tickets on there. It wouldn't load. And the guy was like, well, you've got 5 minutes. Because we were thought, like, well, we've never seen an IMAX film before. Do they even have adverts?
Yeah.
It's like 40
because you're paying more, like maybe it's... Yeah, they just forgo that.
But no, the guy was like, look, you got 5 minutes left. If you go stand in that queue, which was like more than 5 minutes long, a lot of people in that queue, they can print your tickets off.
Just that kind of the mixing of the queue was 5 minutes long.
Yeah.
I like that. Yeah, go on.
He was like, they can print off the tickets for you. And then like just before we got to the front of the queue, finally it loaded.
Yes.
So I think we walked in as the trailer for Digger was ending.
Yeah.
And then the film started not long after that. It was alright seeing an IMAX film in the cinema.
I think like I initially...
We're just talking about IMAX now. We're not talking about the film yet.
Yeah, just a tiny thing. Yeah. Like, I took note of the screen size and the aspect ratio.
Yeah.
Then it looked like anything else.
Yeah.
You sat... Like anything. You just settle into, like, ooh, okay. And then you sink into it. It's...
I said to you when we were kind of on the drive home, I don't know whether this is a case of when I go back to just a normal cinema, it's going to be like watching it in PlayStation 1 resolution.
But I don't think so, because... Oh, the resolution, mate. But, like... Because then you presumably watch things today on your laptop.
Yeah.
And so, going to a cinema again, it's a big graduation, isn't it?
Yeah.
So, yeah. And it was loud.
It was very loud.
It was very loud. Like, when Arrow was shot at Sinon, I think that's in the opening seconds, I thought, okay, here we go.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right.
And when the Cyclops screams as well.
I'll come to that.
Yeah.
Because I found out something about that today.
Oh, okay.
Okay, so what's often the headline with Nolan films? The practical filmmaking.
Yeah.
It's incredibly well done.
Yep.
Real ships, on-location shoots, a mixture of physical and CG and realising the monsters.
Real animals.
Yeah, all that truly excellent. Yeah. Give it all the appropriate Oscars for all that stuff. The storm is a good set piece. The soldiers pulling the Trojan horse out of the sand is great. The sirens sing to a restrained Odysseus. I like that. When he explains what they sang, it seemed to me a solid description of just the thing that would drive you insane.
Yes.
Was it? It's like, it's the thing you want most, but you'll never have.
It's everything that you've ever failed to achieve, I think.
It's
like that.
Something you want most that you'll never have, but it's because you actually had it and lost it, or something like that. The final fight is intense, the music doing a very good job there. While it's not the highlight for me that it has been for others, the sequence with Cersei is very good.
Is that with the pigs?
Yeah.
It was the highlight for me.
Specifically that, her manual moulding, manipulation of the soldiers into pigs.
Well, it just felt like a really good way of doing magic.
Yeah.
She was not just casting spells,
it's
just to
hands-on.
physically reform them.
Yeah, that was very good.
Yeah.
They really do eat like pigs. And I was thinking, does the presence of a witch confer a heightenedness? Like, because the way they eat, even for hungry men, is pretty out there.
Yes.
It's like, oh, is it because she's a witch and they've entered this atmosphere? Do you know what I mean?
I think so. Because they look terrified while it's happening, but they don't stop eating.
Right.
So I think whatever's in the meat is compelling them to continue.
Okay. Much has been made of Samantha Morton's performance that she'll be up for an Oscar. I think at the moment she's the favourite to win the Oscar for supporting actress.
Oh, shit. Okay.
Nolan says the crew applauded after a take, the first time that's happened on a film of his since Ledger on The Dark Knight.
Okay.
I'm a fan of Samantha Morton, and she's solid, but I don't quite get that. I'll be honest.
Yeah, I mean, it's difficult, isn't it? Because this is like a nearly 3-hour film.
Tis.
And even with those comfy IMAX seats, I was struggling. I don't know about you.
Oh, yeah.
But she's such a small part of the film in the broad scope of things that, yeah, I mean, to almost consider her like... I think when we rewatched Boogie Nights like a couple of years ago now, probably.
Yeah.
Loved Alfred Molina in that. We were like, yeah, I guess I would nominate him.
Yeah.
Well, we were talking about whether you could nominate him because he's such a small part of that film, but he leaves such an impression.
Yeah.
But yeah, there was something about like her performance was like, I don't know if that feels like
it's just not in it enough.
Yeah.
Just not in it
doesn't
enough.
feel like an eligible candidate.
Yeah. And yeah, we often lament the overuse, over-reliance on CG, especially when it comes to animals. And yes, this uses animals, actual pigs, a tiger, a lion. And if they weren't real, they bloody looked it.
Yeah.
There may have been one CG deer.
Yeah, and that's possibly just because of staging, right? Because they need the deer to
run across the
certain place,
The cinematography is often stunning. The scene with the Cyclops is the standout for me.
Okay.
Using a real guy, Bill Irwin, who was Tar. Oh, is it Tar in Interstellar? Was that the name of the robot?
Oh, okay.
Yeah, yeah.
I didn't realise that was him.
Yeah, yeah. That really afforded it a scarier dimension. I mean, practical filmmaking really demonstrating its virtues there. You know? When he speaks, it's effectively creepy. And the climactic scream of agony he emits was uncomfortable in just the right way. This unique, awful sound. The girl next to me, like, didn't jump, but kind of cowered.
Yeah.
Like, ooh, I don't like that. I will add, it's unverified, but I read today that it was 125 decibels, one of the loudest scenes ever.
That wouldn't
and that tracks.
Me.
Yeah, that tracks.
Because they're in a cave as well, so it would bounce off the walls.
Yeah, and just, it's like, yeah, that would be loud. That would be fucking loud, and it was. Oh, God, I don't like that.
Yeah.
The film is a feat, a true technical triumph. Nominate Nolan for a directing Oscar again, sure. The nature of the filmmaking means that it will hold up for decades visually.
Yeah.
Though I do think most of the conversation about the Odyssey in the future will be the conversation about the conversation.
Yes.
And those things we've praised so far illustrate one of the film's most glaring issues. It's a succession of set pieces, broken up by pretty boring interims told non-linearly.
Yeah, you told me before we watched this, just so you know, what I've heard is that the first half hour is very slow.
Yeah.
But then once it kicks into gear, it just fucking goes for it.
That's what I've been told, yeah.
And yeah, I guess the Cyclops is kind of the first point where you're like, oh, okay.
Breaking the seal, yeah.
Because prior to the Cyclops, when it's just Tom Holland, like, in Ithaca.
Yeah.
Like, at the banquet and being trained by John Leguizamo and talking to Anne Hathaway.
Yeah.
Just like, 3 hours of this, I don't know.
This is going to be tough.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then the Cyclops happens and you're like, oh, good, okay.
Okay, stuff.
But then it just seems to go back to boring stuff.
Yeah.
Again.
It's set pieces broken up by interims, though, where you're bored.
From what I understand, is the Odyssey. It's him going to those places telling him to fuck off, and he does so. I think that's basically the Odyssey.
But it's written, so perhaps the language is what...
well, there was one...
Even though, obviously...
Yeah, there's one person that I spoke to, although we know a guy, friend of the podcast, who I think has kind of disagreed with this idea. Mm-hmm. But I spoke to someone in work who said that she ended up having to transition over to Ian McKellen's audio book of it.
Right.
Because she said it feels like something that's better spoken than read.
Well, I think whether Homer... who Homer is, whether he wrote the Odyssey, that's up for debate. I think the consensus at the moment is that it was put together through an oral tradition.
Yeah. Because I think at the time...
people were mass literacy. Nobody could read. So it was actually performed to people.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was spoken. I think they sort of allude to that in this, like, people only know us from the songs sung about us or something like that. Yeah. So it was a spoken tradition for most of its history, I think.
Yeah. But yeah, I think it's because it's a poetic text as well, isn't it? So yeah, maybe there is something to the kind of like the rhyme and the rhythm of it where, there is kind of a repetitive nature to it, which probably works better as a song or as a poem than as a feature. But yeah, you come out of it and you think like, okay, this set piece was cool. This set piece was cool.
Yeah.
That set piece was cool.
It's episodic.
Yeah.
It's bits. That's what it is.
Yeah.
And the sense of novelty that creates is characterized by a confusion, because it takes a lot for granted, right? That you said that. Sometimes that's commendable, like don't over-explain to the audience, but the upshot of that is like never connected.
No.
Like as accomplished as the production is, that's something worthy of applause, you know. Not a good film doesn't necessarily make.
Yeah.
You still have to care about the story and the characters, and I didn't.
No.
The structure is misjudged. By all means, leave the Siege of Troy for that final flashback.
I thought that was effectively done.
Yeah.
Because when Agamemnon, Abacadabra.
Yeah, sure.
When he's walking into Troy after being let in by those that hid in the Trojan horse, it cuts away. Mm-hmm. It cuts back to John Bernthal because he's kind of telling Tom Holland the story of them besieging Troy, and he goes, well, you know the rest.
Yeah.
And I thought, like, okay, maybe the film is just doing that to save on time. Mm-hmm. But then the end of the film, you get the second half of that scene. And I thought, like, actually, that's kind of a nice payoff. That's
the big character reveal kind of... So, leave that to the end.
Yeah.
But everything else would have benefited from a straight line, I think.
Yes, definitely.
An accumulating sense of desperation.
Especially since within the film, there seem to be multiple people recounting the events of the film to other characters.
Yes.
Yeah.
But, like, really feeling this arduous journey home. I didn't. And that's my main complaint in a nutshell. I didn't feel.
Yeah.
I didn't penetrate beyond the outermost layer of the film. I bobbed along over the picture, undulating, much like the frequencies of the film itself, up and down, up and down. Nolan is notoriously not the warmest filmmaker, but there's usually been something that allows access. Here, things just kept happening.
Yeah.
Like, his penchant for non-linear storytelling worked against the film here, I think.
Yeah.
I didn't feel Damon's anguish and longing. He looked just about old and haggard enough most of the time, but I didn't feel the brokenness of this man. And like I say, I haven't read the source material. I'm not referring to that. We have it on good authority that the Odysseus of the text is wily and charismatic. Nolan's Odysseus is brooding. That's fine. I went in expecting as much. Nolan takes things very seriously.
Yes.
But even within that vision, I didn't sense the weight on the hero's shoulders, you know? Anne Hathaway is acting. That lady really wants to bag a second Oscar.
Yeah.
On the close-ups, it threatened to tip over into melodrama, actually. Moreover, I know she's a miserable shrew because her love is gone, but you need to make me understand why he's trying so hard to get home. She needs to feel like a woman you'd spend decades trying to return to.
Yeah.
If one has to pick a standout in the ensemble, I guess it would be Robert Pattinson. But you keep waiting for that scenery-chewing baddie performance, and that mode never activates, really.
No, I guess there's a little bit of that in the final fight.
Yeah.
When he's just telling people, look, get those weapons.
Yeah.
Like, not participating in the fight
he's kind of a coward, isn't he? Most everyone is simply fine. Incidentally, has more been made of a role so small as Helen of Troy's.
Yeah, her twin sister.
Yeah, Clytemnestra.
Who's never in the film.
Yeah, she's
in flashbacks, but she's never like in the present day of the film.
Yes.
She does more than Helen of Troy does.
Yeah.
Because she kills Abracadabra.
Yes.
Yeah, but Helen of Troy just sits next to John Benthal.
All disfigured.
Yeah, looking all disfigured. That was interesting.
Yeah, that was.
I mean, they make nothing of it, so I guess in hindsight, it's not that interesting. But I guess just because of the conversation around, they've cast this ugly black woman as Helen of Troy, when it's revealed that she's actually partially disfigured, I was like, oh, okay. Yeah. That adds a bit of a wrinkle to that conversation, doesn't it? Because I imagine that a lot of people that are making that critique don't know that about the film.
Plus, they make the point in the film that the siege wasn't about getting her back, really. It was about, like, a trade route.
Yeah.
And they use that as an excuse, as a pretext.
Yeah.
But like I said, I don't really care about faithfulness, but one of the memes doing the rounds right now is that Christopher Marlowe invented the phrase, the face that launched 1,000 ships, for Dr. Faustus in the 1600s.
Okay.
Right? I knew that going in. So when it was actually said in the film, there was an unavoidable, and I do think Elliot Page is silly casting. Like, whenever she was on screen, it fizzled with the potential for awkwardness. Like, is that her voice now? Have they done something to her voice?
Yeah.
Is she affecting a deeper voice? I kept waiting for it to get weird. It didn't really, but it was a discomfort easily avoided in the first place. I tried to psychically infer the vibe of the audience about that.
Okay.
But I couldn't get a read.
No.
And there's something to be said about the fact that her character Sinon is referred to by Odysseus as the bravest young man I ever knew. It's hard not to think about that in the context of the trans thing. You know? Casting a trans dude as the bravest young man ever does feel like a statement, whether it is or not. And also Travis Scott, like, what a big nothing to get incensed over with him as well.
Yeah, well, you had to tell me.
Yeah.
Like, I didn't even realise.
Yeah, he's the bard.
The bard.
I should note that I was very tired when we watched it. For the first 45 minutes, I struggled. And that's not the film's fault, although, like you said, I've been told by many critics that the first half hour was a slog. But even as it was happening, I was thinking, oh, please, God, don't let it be this.
Yeah.
But again, that sense of novelty is a problem because things are imbued with a gravitas when we don't really know what's going on. There's an unearned weight to everything. The Calypso stuff springs to mind. Like, who, where, why?
Yeah.
When it's revealed that he's been with her for 7 years, it lacked power. It should have been a major twist. And it isn't because the film isn't built around that. You just realise at a certain point, oh, I guess that's been the framing device.
But also, Penelope, Anne Hathaway, she keeps saying he's been gone for like 20 years.
Yeah.
And he's visibly much older when he's with Calypso than he is in the rest of the film.
There's that too, yeah.
So when she says, you've been here for 7 years, I was like, yeah?
Yeah, when the reveal, I was like, oh, is that it?
Yeah.
I thought she was going to say 40 years, and some magic has kept him...
Or the whole 20. Like, he's been there the whole 20 years.
20,
but no, it
was just 7 years.
Yeah.
But do you know what I mean? It's like, if they'd really hammered in that was the framing device, he's with this Calypso, trying to remember why he's there.
Yeah.
But because the film jumps around so much, like, I don't know what the framing device... I don't know what the present time is really meant to be.
Speaking of jumping, I don't know what point you're moving on to, so apologies if I'm derailing your momentum.
Yeah.
I think the editing in this was quite clumsy. I don't know about you.
I didn't actually make a point of that, but you're right. I forgot about that. It's like things would happen in some scenes, and I was like, did I blink?
Yeah.
And it's like almost awkward match cuts.
Yeah.
But they're not going for that. They're just going for, like, jumping a little bit in the action. Yeah.
Now, a lot of this is probably necessity, because IMAX cameras can film for 3 minutes at a time.
Yeah.
Right? You can't do long takes.
No.
You could probably try and fake them. I mean, Hitchcock was doing that years and years and years ago.
Yes.
But yeah, there's probably long conversation scenes where they couldn't do it in its entirety.
Yeah.
And the thing is, they've spoken about like these technological innovations to make this film possible. They built boxes to put the cameras in to make them quieter so they could actually film dialogue on set. Mm-hmm. They built this like mirror system so the actors were able to match their eye lines even though they weren't looking directly at each other.
Yes.
And stuff like that. it does feel like the fact that they were limited to 3 minutes has a negative impact on the film here.
Right.
Think of that scene where Penelope and Odysseus are in bed together, and he's talking about he's got to go on this expedition, and if I don't come back, you need to remarry and everything like that. Yeah, multiple points during that scene. It cuts, but to the same angle.
Yeah,
so
that's what it is. It's cutting to the same angle.
It feels clumsy.
Yeah, it feels like if you have vertigo and you have a slight snap.
Yeah,
that's kind of what it feels like.
Yeah.
I didn't feel the badassery of Odysseus promising vengeance and more when I should have.
Yeah,
because I don't quite know how I got there.
Yeah.
You know? It certainly lacked that Gladiator thing, that satisfaction at the end of Gladiator. The film begins with the text, "A time of apparent magic."
Yeah.
And the gods here are presented as elements, more than physical forms, with the sort of exception of Athena, who's really just a manifestation, a personification of guilt, right?
Is she?
Yeah.
Is she?
Yes.
Is she, though?
What are you asking me? Like, is she actually appearing to him?
Well, we were having the conversation on the way back, right? Because I asked you, is the whole film a punishment because they killed Athena at Troy?
No.
Okay.
No, I'm pretty sure that is an Athenian priestess.
Okay.
And that she now assumes, Athena has assumed that form to punish Odysseus.
Right.
Yes. Because they didn't kill Athena.
They keep making a big point, don't they, about Zeus's law. Like, you have to be kind to beggars because they might be a god in disguise.
A god in disguise, that's right.
And then the fact that they cut back to the battle at the end of the film and you see Athena, you don't see her being beheaded, but like the filmmaker is like, oh, she was beheaded. I was like, oh, they killed a god. That's why it's been such an arduous journey. They've been punished the whole way back.
I get that. You're saying, I don't know that you can kill a god, but I think the debate to be had there is more, is it the god Athena appearing to Odysseus in that form, or is he just seeing that girl as a manifestation of his guilt?
Okay.
Do you know what I mean? I think that's the debate to have.
And calling it Athena.
Yes.
Okay.
I mean, that's the whole thing with this film, is are the gods real? Like they don't...
Yeah.
I don't know, there's kind of some interesting stuff in there, but yeah, the whole Zeus's law thing means that when they're about, they resemble Zendaya, basically. Yeah, there's something interesting there about demystification, maybe. But, like, the Cyclops and Scylla and whatnot, they're pretty unambiguous now.
Yeah, apparent magic?
They're there.
Yeah.
I mean, I know they're not gods, so maybe this is the idea that men and monsters are real, but gods aren't.
Yeah.
But,
also giants. Like, those giants, they're just a bit too big to just be big people.
Yes. Yeah. I don't know if the irony that the sea people end up being the Greeks themselves is a factor in the original text.
Okay.
But that sort of stuff is vaguely interesting to me as well as an interpretation, you know?
Yeah.
I've heard some say it's a film about PTSD, and I remembered that when the Troy sequence played out at the end. It's certainly an interesting component, an ingredient of flavour, but the film isn't about that. If that's its intention, it fails, I think.
Okay.
Again, you don't feel Damon carrying this massive burden of guilt and tragedy. He's just a guy, you know? As it happens, I've been led to believe that the finale involved a major battle, so I was waiting the whole film for what the Troy scene would have looked like if it had that sense of triumph to it.
Okay.
Do you know what I mean? But maybe that's the point, you know?
But it is, I mean, it's one guy fighting off an army of suitors.
Yes.
So,
no, the fight is really good.
Yeah.
But I had been led to believe it was a battle, you know? But he had, I guess, like, summoned all those still loyal to him, and there was... But I guess the point is there's three, you know?
Yeah.
It's John Leguizamo and his son.
Do you think... This has just popped into my head now, that's why I'm interrupting you again.
Go ahead.
If Michael Caine was still acting,
right,
do you think he would have played the John Leguizamo part?
That could, yeah.
Because it doesn't look... I guess it looks like John Leguizamo, but they've done stuff to it.
Yeah, they made him...
He doesn't look like John Leguizamo in the same way that Tom Holland looks like Tom Holland in this.
No.
But yeah, thinking about it now, it's like, yeah, I could see Michael Caine.
Yeah, who would Michael Caine play?
Yeah.
Well, I do know they cut like Odysseus' father as a character in the original.
Okay.
So maybe you would have played him if that had been a thing. Or,
okay.
I don't know, James Remar plays that Hadean Tricerius. The thing that says, like, all your men are going to die.
Yeah.
Not Triceratops. Yeah, that was James Remar. Like, Michael Caine could maybe have done that, but you won't see it's Michael Caine.
You're not going to put Michael Caine in the dirt, are you?
In the dirt, no, you're not. There may have been a much stronger emphasis on legacy in those times. Remembering, too, that Homer's Odyssey is retrospective, right? That was written, I don't know how, like, I think 1,000 years, certainly hundreds of years after the events it purports to depict.
Okay.
But the film, its world, and the people within it seems to have a sense of itself that rang off. A historical perspective of itself within its own time.
Yeah, and that worked against it for me.
Yeah.
I think that's kind of another...
Everyone's talked about the Age of Bronze line,
yeah.
right? Like the self-consciousness of that.
Yeah.
And it is rather silly, even if it didn't register quite that silly on the screen. The problem is more that it neglects the fact that history is made up of men just existing in their own time.
Yes.
You know?
Yeah.
There are a few moments of unintentional comedy. The montage of suitors trying to string the bow. Just because of one guy kneeling, you know.
Yeah.
And yeah, Pattinson in that final fight just announcing swords, shields, spears. Like, yeah.
I also laughed, and it's not like a comedy cut at all.
Yeah.
I think it's just me having ruined myself for, like, you know...
The internet ruining you.
Yeah, that as well. But when he's on the island with Calypso, and Calypso's like, oh, you're not really into me, are you? And he's like, no, I'm present, I'm here, I'm like, I've accepted my lot.
Yeah.
And she's just like, then why are you using the bones of your old ship to build a raft?
Right.
And it just cuts to a shit pile of wood on the beach. Yeah. And just like, I found that funny.
Yeah, there are, I think, two moments that are meant to be kind of amusing.
Yeah.
One in the beginning where Tom Holland is dueling with Ryan Hurst.
Yeah.
And he kind of gets the upper hand and like taps him with a sword on the cheek. People kind of laughed at that.
Yeah.
And then there's another that I think is meant to be funny that is just it's so emblematic that no, comedy ain't your thing, man.
Yeah.
It's where they're in the thing with the Cyclops, the cave with the Cyclops, and one of his men, I can't remember his name, but Andrew Howard, a Welsh actor, says, should we try reasoning with him? And Damon says, I think we're past that.
Oh, yeah.
I think that's meant to be a comedy beat.
Oh, okay.
No. And when Odysseus tells Penelope when he's dying, you know, no, not death, exile. One was put in mind of Dark Knight Rises as Kangaroo Court.
Okay.
It was like, death by exile.
Yeah.
Remember that? I will say, knowing the Happy Hap and the chronology the second time around does make it an easier watch.
Okay.
As does being able to get through it more quickly, frankly.
Yeah.
It's made me want to read the thing, and I think having faces to put to names will be an aid, because I'm guessing it's a stacked, you know, dramatist personae. I'm guessing there's a lot of characters in it.
Yeah, especially if they've cut out not just characters, but entire locations.
Yeah. So I actually do think this, and that's what people always complain about, like, oh, I had this picture and now you've concretized what it, but that might help, I think.
Okay.
Go back to it. Not to bring the Latin of dramatis personae. Do you know his Latin name, Odysseus?
Nope.
It's Ulysses. That's the Latin variant.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I didn't realize they were the same person.
Yeah.
Okay.
Heracles?
No, Jordan.
No, you're Heracles, right? Hercules.
Okay.
What do you make of the final shot?
Okay, yeah, because you asked me this yesterday as well, didn't you? And I think I said that, like, for me, it felt like it was the film saying everything that Odysseus is lamenting, all of the things that he came to realize during the Battle of Troy about, like, how we're, like, what's he talking about? Like, oh, the horror, like, all of the anger spilling into that city and what we've done to ourselves and what we're doing to the people around us. When you see the burning horse against the temple, the film's going, he's right. All of his anxieties, all of his fears, everything, he's just right.
About
people. About the darkness in us and what we're doing to ourselves and everything like that.
See, because it's teed up, that image, by Odysseus saying that our mistakes will be forgotten. Right?
Oh, okay.
And then you see him looking up at the Trojan horse on fire. So is the import that no, they won't be, because we all know about the Trojan horse.
Yes.
Even if it's fantasy.
Yeah.
Or is it a flame as that wooden nag is, that men die, empires perish, times move on?
Yeah.
You know, like everything burns. Everything burns.
Yeah.
Outside of that, for me, the takeaway is just that inextricable binding of glory and horror. In a way, it's an anti-war film, right? Like, Oppenheimer isn't an anti... I think most of us agree that World War II was a just war, though I don't know about how strong that consensus is anymore.
Yeah.
But both films share that idea of victory married to atrocity. Like, to win, you gotta do some heinous shit.
Yeah.
So that's kind of what I got from it.
Okay.
One and the same. Victory means burning down a city.
Okay.
You know what I mean? But I think the debate, that's the debate, is that our mistakes will be forgotten. Will they? Are you saying that they will, or are you saying that they won't? So I do think that's interesting. Before going in, I wrote this note to see if it would be borne out. And it's this. I wouldn't have had the passion and interest to sustain making a film like this especially the way he did it, requiring grueling endurance, right? And that does stand.
Yeah.
Unfortunately.
Yeah.
I'm glad we didn't see it when we initially planned. Before that even, we intended on waiting a while for things to die down. But then the reviews came out and they made me keen. I think I'd have been very disappointed if we'd gone then.
Yeah.
Now, it's just a bit of a shame, you know? There are elements of it that are outstanding, but they're mostly decorative, you know? I think I'd have to say I don't like it.
Yeah. I think on balance, I'm leaning towards that as well, because outside of the practical elements and some of the set pieces,
I didn't care.
Yeah, there's nothing that I would really draw attention to as like there's even things you're saying now about the script, like some of the ambiguities in it. It's like, I don't know if I would even give it that, because in a way it feels like, well, is that intentional ambiguity that's meant to kind of inspire conversation, or is it just clumsy? No, I think there are elements of the script that are clumsy.
There are elements, but I think the Trojan horse, I mean, it's the final image. He's thought a lot about that. So that's
not that necessarily.
Yeah, that's obviously meant to inspire debate.
Yeah.
No, you know, whatever the reasons, the film can offer up some kind of interesting, what do you make of that? You know, it's not like, it's not trash, you know, it's, but yes, it is, I think, overall failure, most because you don't connect to it.
No.
I'm surprised how locked in it's become with forecasters for Oscar nominations, though I'm sure it will be represented. I just wonder how all this will look in a few months. I think it has Dark Knight Rises potential, where people will go, did I get carried away with myself there?
Okay.
Like, what was I so enthusiastic about, you know? Because Dark Knight Rises now is widely considered one of his worst films.
Okay.
And many people are calling this his best film at the moment. Taste is taste, of course, but maybe give it a minute. Like, let it marinate. I understand being excited for something and then reading all these fuckheads spewing hate. So wanting to like it even more on principle. And I get hype and I get new, but take a breath.
Yeah.
It's better than The Dark Knight. Are you really saying that, you know? So I've got a ranking for Nolan's filmography at the moment, and it is as follows. Top to bottom, okay? The Dark Knight, Batman Begins, Inception, The Prestige, Memento, Interstellar, Dunkirk, Oppenheimer, The Dark Knight Rises, The Odyssey, Insomnia, Tenet, and following.
Really? Okay.
Yeah. One of his lesser efforts, unfortunately, for all the effort it took on his part.
Yeah.
Anyone I would recommend it to is seeing it anyway. You recommend it for the craft, just to film people, you know? And look, plenty of ordinary folk seem to love it, but I can't say I would recommend it to anyone that fits that bill.
No, I was saying to Mum earlier, because she asked about the film.
Yeah.
And I think when she saw the trailer, when she went to see Disclosure Day, she saw the trailer for it and was immediately like, I have no interest in seeing that. That is not something that I'm even going to try. And I said to her, there are certain films, because she doesn't watch foreign language films.
Right.
Her problem is that she can't keep up with the subtitles.
Right.
And she recognises that dubs are usually inferior versions. So to her, she feels like she's kind of locked out of foreign cinema in that way.
Okay.
And I said to her, that is a shame, because there are certain instances, like with foreign films, where I know she's never going to watch them, and it does feel like she's missing out on a great film because of that.
Pan's Labyrinth, Parasite, Lives of Others, just
to name a few.
Yeah.
The Odyssey is not one of those films. Like, that is not a film that I would try and convince her to go see. She's definitely not.
Or indeed Brokeback Mountain.
Or Brokeback Mountain, which, huge Jake Gyllenhaal fan.
The bigger, but like maybe not his best performance. That's Nightcrawler, but it's up there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, if you're a Jake Gyllenhaal fan, Brokeback Mountain is a big one to miss.
Yes, it really is.
But yeah, I was like, no, you don't think you're going to like it, you are probably absolutely right.
Yeah.
Because I don't know what I was going to think.
No, I didn't know. My suspicion was great set pieces, but the rest of it will kind of be okay.
Yeah.
I guess I hoped I would emerge going, oh man, there's a lot of clumsiness in there and a lot that doesn't work, but like, wow.
Yeah.
I didn't. I emerged going, the craft is excellent, but I just didn't give a fuck about the film.
The craft didn't wow me. I appreciated it. Yeah. And I like when they're like thousands of people dragging the horse across the beach. I smiled at that.
It's Lord of the Rings. I know our listener won't like that, but it's that. I know I'm not saying that they're of the same quality, but it's that thing where you go, a lot of the things it's praised for are things you should go, as we always do. it does not make it a good film on its own.
Yeah.
Thousands of extras, great. You got a good production manager.
Yeah.
So who cares?
And I will say that again, I don't know if this is a feature of the text or whether this is Nolanizing it.
Yeah.
Because that's a verb. That used to be a big verb in the culture. I feel like we have less of that nowadays.
We call it decilification, don't we?
We call it
depends on what you
decilification,
mean.
yeah. But yeah, Nolanization is like the post-Batman Begins buzzword. When they're all hiding in the Trojan horse, I like that it wasn't on wheels, as it's usually depicted.
Yeah.
They have to drag it.
Yes. And they're tumbling about inside.
They're tumbling about inside it because they're in there for days. People are drowning. They're pissing and shitting in there.
Yeah.
It's an awful experience. It's a trial just being in that thing. That was good because that's not something I even considered.
Right.
So that feels like a good way of grounding. If you want to ground the Odyssey, that feels like a good way of grounding it.
I guess that's kind of what this film is trying to do.
Yeah.
Trying to ground. The gods are kind of elemental.
Yeah.
And maybe not real. And,
Yes.
a time of apparent magic.
Yeah.
Apparent being the word, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Apparently, there's a Cyclops trying to eat us. That is apparent, Odysseus, yes.
But yeah, I think you're right. I think one of the big problems in the script certainly is, like you said, this kind of... It has a self-awareness that is kind of anachronistic.
Yeah.
And there are plenty of anachronisms in there. I mean, everyone speaks in this kind of like American English dialect.
Yeah, I don't care about that.
And that's... I mean, no one complains about it in Death of Stalin. Do they?
Yeah, exactly.
So it's putting that on someone other than the Russians. It's like, oh, they're not speaking ancient Greek, they're speaking English.
Yeah.
I think that's fine because filmmaking has a way of...
Yeah, it's like
precedent
it
there.
will only be satisfied if it's spoken in ancient Greek. You're not going to want to watch that film either, believe me. So
exactly.
Grow up. Yeah, no, I don't... The daddy... I don't care. It's imposing a kind of modern colloquial... That's fine.
Yeah. But having those characters speak so... Almost like they're writing an essay on the time in which they're alive.
Yes, that's... The biggest problem for me is the fact that it's the gravity that everything has. That everything's so serious. When I don't know why. I don't know what the stakes... I don't know who these people are.
Yeah.
Like I said, it's better on the second watch because, I know who everyone is now.
Yeah.
But that shouldn't affect your first watch, you know? It's that. It takes itself so seriously. Like, I don't know why that's important.
Yeah.
You know?
Try and, remove yourself from the Odyssey being a pre-established thing in the culture. You're watching this cold.
Right. Is
Helen of Troy really that big of a deal?
Not at all.
She's no one.
Not at all.
In the context of the story, she is no one. If it weren't for the fact that John Bernthal went, oh, have you met my beautiful wife, Helen of Troy?
Just someone that they used as a nifty excuse to invade Troy. Yeah.
Yeah. She has no, contribution. I think if you're a script editor, and this is an original thing, you'd go, why even have a Helen of Troy?
Oh, yeah. If you're a script editor, you go and take out this character, this character, this character, this character, you know. Absolutely. And he already did, you know.
Yeah, no, definitely. But yeah,
it would just be this dual thing of you're seeing what's happening back on Ithaca as Odysseus is trying to get home.
Yeah.
That's the film. That's it.
Yeah.
You know? Yeah, no, shame.
It's a real shame. Yeah. No, it's a disappointment.
But I don't hate it. I don't have contempt. I just don't like it. I don't have an intense feeling about it. I don't feel anything. That's the problem.
That is the problem.
I just think, okay, well, it doesn't make me hate Nolan. I just really miss the time where he would make really good films.
Yeah.
You know? That's it.
But maybe, he's got that out of his system. And his last couple ones have been sort of we had Oppenheimer and the Odyssey back to back. Maybe, I know Tenet was a bit of a bum note, but try and do another original one, maybe.
Yeah, do that horror. Do that.
Yeah, do a horror film.
Yeah.
I think people are right. I think given how the witch scene played out.
And the Cyclops as well.
And the Cyclops. Because I think, even at the time of Interstellar, which is 2014 now, so we've had a few films since then.
Mm-hmm.
But at that time, people were talking about, Nolan films keep, going up and up in terms of scale.
Yeah.
But how can you scale up Interstellar? You can't.
Yeah.
And then with Dunkirk, he ended up going into a different period, and it was kind of based on real events. It was I guess that's how he's scaling up, quote unquote.
Well, it's scaling up a practical thing. I mean, Interstellar, it's a big story. It's in space, but it's you build the sets and then you just have the characters and you go to Iceland and you film. Dunkirk, it's having to do all that shit.
The crowd work, with Dunkirk.
Yeah,
but now it feels like him jumping over to a new genre is the right move for Nolan.
The right move is to go smaller.
Yeah.
Like,
and so moving into a genre like horror feels like a perfect justification to scale it down.
I don't know that he can anymore.
Okay.
He's an A-list director. People are going to see a Christopher Nolan film because it's a Christopher Nolan film.
Yeah.
Is he going to be permitted to do a small, basically indie? I don't know.
Again, this is a conversation. We keep alluding to conversations we've had off podcasts. But we looked it up, didn't we? Like, what are the most expensive horror films?
Yes.
Because...
Yeah, what does an epic horror film look like?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And, like, nowhere near the Odyssey's budget.
No.
I think even the It films are not the most expensive. Well, I think most of the most expensive horror films of all time are not pure horror films. It's like V for Vendetta.
Yeah, because we looked at... Nolan said he'd be interested in making a horror film.
Yeah.
So we were thinking, okay, the Nolan sensibility to a horror film, what does an epic horror film look like? Is there an epic horror film?
Yeah.
And we kind of got entranced by that idea. But then you realise very quickly, the reason for that is probably that horror needs to be intimate.
Yes.
To an extent. You can't have a international sweeping horror. Maybe you can. Maybe someone will do it right. But you know what I mean? If they're epic, it's because the depth of it rather than the scale of it.
Yeah.
Like Hereditary is something that I'm kind of tempted to describe as an epic horror film. But it's not really. It's just about the fucking awful breakdown of this family.
Yeah.
So it lends it a kind of epic flavour. Or something like, obviously, The Exorcist, because that does start in the Middle East and then comes over to America.
Nosferatu?
Yeah, Nosferatu. But, none of them are epics.
No.
So I think you
Frankenstein, if you want to count
if you
it.
like, yeah. I think the man needs to make an hour and a half, like Memento, just this great concept.
Yeah,
but it's hard to imagine.
It's hard to imagine, but if at this point,
yeah, I can't go bigger.
Yeah, but I think it would be Nolan's in a position now where it's not going to fit in with the scale of what he's done more recently.
But he could probably do whatever he wants.
He could do whatever he wants, and people will follow him.
Yes.
So in a way, maybe it's given that this guy is such a champion of filmmaking and cinema, and he's a pioneer of technology and everything like that, maybe this is his chance to kind of bring the audience that he's accrued into something that maybe they're not familiar with. He could be their gateway into horror.
Right.
He can show them here's other kind of branches of cinema that you're missing.
Yes.
I don't know if he even has a desire to do such a thing, but if he's expressed that he'd be interested in doing horror, then follow that instinct, I say.
Oh, no, absolutely, yeah. Because he's displayed some flair for it in this.
Yeah. And his kind of coldness and misery, if you like, might be very well suited to horror as well. Yeah.
And he'd have a good concept.
Yeah.
Hopefully.
Yeah.
I think that's it.
Okay.
Yeah.
So what do we like this episode? What do we recommend it?
Saccarine's okay.
Yeah. Jackass
is alright.
Okay. Who'd have thought
the rest aren't
that we'd be doing an episode where we were recommending Jackass and not the Odyssey?
Yeah, that's life, innit?
Yeah.
So, anything else? No?
I don't think so.
No. Then we will see you next time.
Alright then.
Fare thee well.
Bye-bye.